My name is Erica Lorraine Spencer, and I remain subject to state surveillance and terrorism by the state of California that is operating a malicious targeting system, which is referred to as federal group stalking and monitoring via communication devices. And it is in violation of federal stalking statute 18 U.S.C. sections 2261A subsections 1 and 2. My website and podcast serve the public good by publishing evidence of the public entity's ceaseless engagement in a pattern of conduct intended to stalk and monitor via communication devices, surveil, harass, and terrorize an American citizen in concert with the people of the state of California. Documentation serves the lawful purposes of wide exposure, federal prosecution, and influencing federal legislation with policies specifically designed to punish, dismantle, and disincentivize an unprecedented targeting system by a public entity that acts in concert with the people of the state in order to criminally place under surveillance and terrorize an American citizen, which is a matter of public corruption in the state of California.
Erica Lorraine Spencer here. The following is an audio version of video evidence that is captured for purposes of mass distribution, which is why I am capturing it and sharing it on the podcast for evidentiary purposes and also to reveal the wealth of documentation that extends beyond what it is that I document on podcasts. Much of the video and images will be published onto the YouTube channel, the P.O.C, and it is also shared on the Google Drive. Again, this is for purposes of revealing what I remain subject to, which is federal group stalking and monitoring. It is a demonic system of state surveillance that the government is practicing in concert with the people of the state, and it should be known and well understood that for the government to engage in federal group stalking and monitoring, this is a crime that is committed with a criminal purpose to threaten the life of an American citizen. This is to conspire to murder and or permanently kidnap an American citizen while engaging in a perpetual sex offense in concert with the people of the state. Here's crazy. He's monitoring with the Ontario Police Department. This is Ontario Police that's stalking under the fake center. Remember the time, it's 9:18 a.m. And let me see, little over 20 minutes, the fake sun should be at 2500 Archibald, where the Ontario Police Department has the fake sun over my head at that police station. But it's not. It's right here where Crazy is engaging in inquiry regarding my online business that he is very much aware of while he's monitoring on the venue of the internet. And he's doing so with the Ontario Police. And it is away 9:18 a.m. where this fake sun is still here, where the Ontario Police are stalking at this same Ontario Town Square, where I walk out at 6 p.m. in the evening. And the entities engage in monitoring. And the audible activity, I want to be clear, this is a gang stalker that's drinking beer at 9 o'clock in the morning and inquiring about what it is that I do on the venue of the internet, which again, the malicious gang stalkers who are engaging in what is targeting women, okay? The cowardice of being a stalker and a demon-possessed one and a sex offender that knows what's going on with my vagina and asking me questions that they know the answer to when they're gang stalking with the pedophiles, the Ontario Police Department. This is Crazy that's going to be prosecuted, and then we'll test how crazy he is. It is currently 9:19 a.m. This is P.O.C. at 224 North Euclid Avenue, the Ontario Town Square, where you know that the fake sun is remaining. And as you'll see online, the Ontario Fire Department engaging in criminal summoning, monitoring my physical movement, and monitoring what I'm doing on the venue of the internet. The fake sun is remaining right here at the large clock where I've been taking images of it. American Medical Response is engaging in criminal summoning as well as I begin documenting Michael GERKEN, who is gang stalking while the Ontario Fire Department, those demons are engaging using fire trucks to commit criminal monitoring, federal stalking. They're engaging in federal offenses of criminal monitoring. It's criminal activity creation in the specific environment, and that's what I've been documenting. And the entity is monitoring in real time of Ontario, gang stalking with lowlifes like Crazy who are stalking one night. And this is the entity that's drinking beer in the middle of the morning. This is what the city of Ontario is gang stalking me with. And the entity is engaging in this pattern of conduct where the fake sun is remaining and the entity is maintaining flights where there's no planes taking off from the airport. As you can see, the small government plane. Also with regard to Southwest Airlines, and the entity that's maintaining flights right here over the Ontario Town Square were gang stalkers engaged in what is creating audible activity in some sort of manner where there's no gang stalking demon that's ever going to be an insult. The entity is engaging in what is monitoring while the Ontario police are engaged in the pattern of conduct with the City of Ontario, maintaining commercial flight over this venue while aerial surveillance, that's what you're seeing them engaging in. And it's captured on the Google Drive. This is the P.O.C.wordpress.com. It's the same Ontario Police Department that are gang stalking at the 320 North Euclid Avenue as I walk outside of the OVITT Family Community Library, where you know that the fake sun is still present until closure after 6 p.m. This is where the entity is keeping the fake sun, and this is where they were stalking by helicopter upon my exit, and this is where their entity is stalking by helicopter under a fake sun that remains at this address until sunset. Of the Ontario Police that have no intention to have any defense in federal court with regard to the conspiracy to murder me as pedophiles engage in what is sex trafficking children while they're gang stalking with the people of the state, and they're doing so while they are monitoring the evidence. Demon possession while it's being exhibited. That's not the sun, and that's a demon. The entity is engaged in this pattern of conduct with the people of the state. Remember, he's engaged in criminal summoning with the Ontario Police Department. That's federal prison. He's engaged in criminal surveillance while Securitas is gang stalking, engaging in any legitimate. This is demonic pacing where the Ontario Police are maintaining a fake sun over me. And as they did at the Ontario Police Department at 2500 South Archibald Avenue, where there's no sun over me at that police station, those are exposing the cockroaches that are gang stalking by helicopter. And Mike LORENZ is being removed from position because of his condition, because of his mental illness, because of his criminal conduct, which is conspiring to murder an American citizen, who is simultaneously exposing him in order to have him removed. And every gang stalking demon that's under this fake sun that remains at 4 and 6 p.m., they're going to federal prison, okay? That's the Ontario Police that presents evidence against itself. And that is speaking to the mental illness of those that are gang stalking, and they are associated with things such as pedophilia, such as domestic terrorism, such as mental illness. All right, and the entity is engaging in what is satanic at its core. The fake sun is still here after 6 p.m. It's 9:22 a.m. There's no sun at the Ontario Police Department. The Ontario Police Department are full of demons and they're gang stalkers, and that's why they're being disbanded. This is P.O.C. No police department that engages in criminal conduct with the people of the state, let alone alcoholics that get up at 9 o'clock in the morning to stalk women. No police department needs to remain in existence. That's P.O.C. It is, again, 9:22 a.m. All right, this is demonic pacing, and this is pursuant to federal stalking, now monitoring the video that I just documented. This is creating the elements of monitoring in the engineered environment where the fake sun is remaining here at this same address, 224 North Euclid Avenue. And the people of the state together are now engaging in what is obstruction of justice, monitoring the evidence that is gathered against the gang stalker. And this is a gang stalking police department that's being disbanded for repeatedly kidnapping. This is the kidnapping that C. Hazelwood is engaging in on July 15, 2025, and this is why he's going to federal prison. He and Owens committed attempted kidnapping and an unlawful search pursuant to criminal surveillance at the Ontario Police Department as demons in an engineered environment are engaging in 24 hours a day, and they're currently monitoring the evidence of that video that I captured moments ago. And that is the video that is entitled 2025-0813 as in August 13th at 0918. Then the demons engage in the pattern of monitoring the evidence by repeatedly engaging in that POC. And this is the specific environment. This is near light. This is not sunlight. You're looking at the pattern of that's appearing at a distance. This pattern of engineer light, you could see it through my shadow. This is not sunlight. This is where demons who are drinking in the morning, stalking a woman with a police department. The entity at all socioeconomic levels, the homeless are gang stalking, and that's a demon. It doesn't matter whether they have somewhere to live or not, that's a demon, and he knows what I'm speaking about. He starts creating activity that's created in the environment where a fake sun is remaining, where engineer light is present, and the Ontario police are demons as well. Okay, the entity is keeping the fake sun as I'm showing you, while the entity is engaging in monitoring the evidence. The entity is keeping the fake sun here. That's the Ontario police that are engaged in obvious criminal monitoring, and the world is witnessing that. This is why you're also going to witness the permanent removal of a law enforcement agency, and they're also going to be removed from law enforcement altogether because domestic terrorism in the United States is not going to be tolerated. And criminal activity with the people of the state is what the Ontario police contribute to, and that's also why it is for the betterment of this country and for society that they be disbanded altogether. All right, it is currently 9 9:33 a.m. The demons are maintaining the fake sun over the Ontario Police Department at the same time. That's the entity that is, and I'll go ahead and attach that video so you can see the evidence of the demon possession of the Ontario Police that misuse and criminally abuse expenditures. This is the removal of Paul Leon. While he is gang stalking, the Ontario City Hall is right on the opposite side of this building. He's going to be removed from office while the police are engaged in criminal activity that he is a part of as well. The Ontario Police Department are being disbanded. This is the evidence of criminal monitoring, the engineer light. They're doing it under the fake sun. That's also at the same time at 2500 South Archibald Avenue. That's engineered light under the fake sun. That's remaining over me, the evidence of criminal surveillance, which is a satanic targeting system. The Ontario Police Department are demons. And so are the people of the state gang stalking, because that's what this says, surrounding in the path. This is P.O.C. It is currently 9:33 a.m. 9:39 a.m. Southwest Airlines. And this is not published on the website. While they're flying west, hovering over 224 North Euclid Avenue, they are monitoring the videos documented and published by the Ontario Police gang stalking in the same manner that Southwest Airlines is gang stalking, pursuant to the same criminal pattern of conduct in concert with the people of the state. This is federal stalking that Southwest Airlines is engaging in. While they are doing so with the Ontario Police are still gang stalking while Southwest Airlines maintains audible activity, relevant positioning in the specific environment under the fake sun, pursuant to the criminal conduct that the entity is committing by stalking with the police using helicopter activity, which is a terrorizing threat by the gang stalking government. It is 9:40 a.m. If you'll recall, I already published the evidence of the entity gang stalking by commercial planes and the schedule that, again, Alan D. WAPNER does not include the criminal activity of the entity that is gang stalking by commercial planes. That is not included on the website, where these airlines are engaging in the criminal pattern of conduct, deviating from flights, arrivals, and departures published on the website while gang stalking me. This is already online, and I'm going to go ahead and share that with you. It's 9:40 a.m. where Southwest Airlines, and I've been documenting gang stalking at this Ontario Town Square, so even before now. But the entity is engaging in it, and today is the 13th. And you can do the same thing. You can look at what I'm capturing in time. The entity that is monitoring is engaged in ongoing monitoring of evidence. And so that's why what I capture at that moment is what is controlling, not how the government that is monitoring evidence will seek to try to rebut the narrative, which is impossible. This is why you document what the entity is doing when the entity is doing it. And it's relevant to the comprehensive pattern of conduct and the criminal pattern of obstruction of justice. The entity is engaged in gang stalking. That is Southwest Airlines. Southwest Airlines is, let's see, at 9:40, regarding arrivals, Southwest Airlines is not included on the August 13th list of arrivals to Ontario International Airport. In fact, flights include at 9:09 a.m. Frontier Airlines coming from Denver, at 9:23 a.m. Alaska Airlines coming from Portland, at 9:58 a.m. American Airlines coming from Dallas Fort Worth, and with regard to departures coming from, remember, 2500 South Archibald Avenue, there are no flights arrivals from that airport nor departures from 2500 Airport Drive. That will include flight over Ontario Town Square, nor will it include flight over Ontario Town Square at this low elevation, including the noise of the plane activity, which, again, remember, this is an illusion and this is demonic. You're going to prosecute based on the illusions that the demon-possessed present. Well, if you can hear the plane, and I'm certainly able to see that plane, you're talking about what is targeting, because you're not at that elevation, you're not creating that level of disturbance at all. When you are arriving, that is landing at and taking off from the airport, and you're going about your business as a legitimate airlines, that is not engaged in targeting with the city of Ontario, which is the federal RICO case against companies such as Southwest Airlines, which is, by the way, headquartered in Texas, Dallas, Texas. Southwest Airlines is also not included. In fact, there are, this is the arrivals. Let me look at the departures. The departures at this time includes nothing at 9:40. It's 9:43 a.m., nothing at 9:39 a.m. In fact, it's 9 a.m. Alaska Airlines is headed toward Honolulu. Alaska Airlines takes international flights. They also engage in flying west, hovering over this Ontario Town Square while they're engaging in such flights to Hawaii. Okay. The entity engages in flight today at 9:50 a.m. Delta Airlines is anticipated to go towards Salt Lake City, and they're doing so through gate 209. Again, this is Southwest Airlines. These are the only published flights that, again, the gang stalker, the terrorist leader, this sex offender Alan D. Wapner is publishing on the Ontario International website, where criminal conduct is committed by the gang stalkers who are the corrupt airlines. These are representing corrupt businesses that are engaging in federal stalking with the government. And the airline, the airport itself is a crime scene where I've documented the specific environment, and it is a threat to national security while they're maintaining a satanic means of targeting American citizens, engaging in psychological torture, engaging in terrorism, targeting a secret surveillance system, where, by the way, they are engaging in what is the protection of things that this entity is engaged in, which is trafficking children, pedophilia, conspiracy to murder me, which is why Southwest Airlines is gang stalking me. They're doing so with the government that is engaged in a series of kidnappings, which Southwest Airlines is acting in concert with knowledge of the fact that I'm also documenting that particular company. Remember, the particular pattern of conduct, as I document a specific brand, that brand will engage in targeting with knowledge, because that's no coincidence, in the specific environment. And as a body of evidence showing, United Airlines will fly over the top of my head as I refer to United Airlines. I'm going to prosecute for that. And they also know that I'm documenting, which is, again, a co-conspirator to murder, engaging in more stalking and terrorism that has the deep pockets that Southwest Airlines and United Airlines and Delta Airlines has. You're going to punish and prosecute with regard to not only the civil prosecution for gang stalking, but that criminal prosecution. And Southwest Airlines is subject to a criminal prosecution for criminal activity. And this is where the Ontario Police Department are gang stalking. And there is also no reasonable question about the criminal acts that Southwest Airlines is engaging in and is facilitating with a population of people who are together engaging in sexual violence. The next flight from departing from the Ontario International Airport at 2500 South Archibald is at 9:50 a.m. and that would include Delta Airlines. There is nothing regarding Southwest Airlines, and this is captured where the entity was gang stalking early this morning, where I'm at 415 South Euclid Avenue, and the entity maintained, again, what is not published on the website, patrolling commercial planes over 415 North Euclid Avenue, where I was at last night, where the entity is stalking me by helicopter, just like the entity is stalking by helicopter at the square, where the fake sun is present from morning until evening, where I'm documenting at 415 North Euclid Avenue. The documentation of the fake sun is remaining on this street, the same Euclid Avenue. 415 North Euclid Avenue is literally a block away from where I'm at now. So this is the same location, the same environment where the fake sun's remaining on one street. That's where a police department is surrounded with evidence, speaking to their mental illness when you are delusional, not only because you are a demon-possessed gang stalker that is engaging in criminal conduct, which is direct evidence of your mental illness, but you are also delusional when you have this level of evidence, and the entity is going to be prosecuted with tangible evidence, facts establishing what is unavoidable, a prosecution for unprecedented criminal monitoring by a government. All right. And this is, again, revolutionary with regard to closeted mental illness, with regard to demon possession, things that the government doesn't discuss, things that many people don't discuss because they don't have the evidence of it. And that is, again, groundbreaking with regard to the P.O.C. It is satanic, and the environment is proof of what is Satanism. This is also criminal conduct by the demon possessed. And this is what is practiced throughout the country, because the sun is not in Florida while the Ontario police are stalking me under it, while they're engaging in this pattern of conduct using helicopters, which is a hallmark, because this is what the Monrovia Police Department are doing while I'm remaining at the Courtyard by Marriott in Monrovia, California in 2024 at the same time of year. And the entity is keeping a fake sun. What is over me at Courtyard by Marriott adjacent to the 210 freeway in Monrovia, California, where Alan San Victoris is targeting me like Mike Lorenz is targeting me, that is not any sun that's going to be at the Ontario Town Square. And the sun is never, under any circumstances, going to be at one address from the beginning until the end of the day. And this is the evidence that is speaking to severe mental illness of the demon-possessed gang stalkers, which happen to make up corrupt police departments who are caught red-handed, engaging in sexual violence, engaging in what is facilitating sex trafficking, pedophilia of children, while they are gang stalking me and obstructing justice by engaging in a pattern of kidnapping. This is what Southwest Airlines is interested in, is engaging in, is intentionally facilitating, and is doing so with the intent to harass and terrorize me, because Southwest Airlines is hostile to my documentation. Southwest Airlines has no published flights on the Ontario International Airport website, and that's because Southwest Airlines is a part of the pattern of conduct of gang stalking, which Alan D. Wapner is the terrorist leader, the dangerous and corrupt corrupt leadership that is going to come to a decisive end. It is currently 9:48 a.m. This is Ontario Town Square, where the entity is engaged in ongoing surveillance, and you can look at the evidence of what I'm capturing. You can look at what is published in real time on the Ontario International website, Ontario International Airport website, and you can also look at what I'm documenting, because what I document is what's captured in time. The demons that are monitoring evidence, they're always engaging in what is in a frenzied state, trying to adjust regarding what it is that I capture, because I'm documenting a liar, because I'm documenting Satan, who is a spirit, who is the father of lies, because I'm documenting maniacal psychopaths who think that group conduct is going to supersede or equal intelligence altogether, and they are all being embarrassed because a bunch of idiots does not equal one intelligent person. And they're all being prosecuted. The Ontario Police is being disbanded. It is currently 9:49 a.m. This is P.O.C. All right, 9:51 a.m. The entity maintaining ongoing surveillance, monitoring evidence against the government. That is, Southwest Airlines is a third party. Every airline gang stalking with the Ontario International Airport represent the entity, not a private act. It's not a private they're not private companies. In the same way that people of state are not individuals, they represent the entity. They're engaging in state action, and the government is interfering with the case against it while they're monitoring the evidence, as they're still engaging in the criminal activity of gang stalking in the first place. It's 9:52 a.m. and this remains the criminal conduct of the entity that's maintaining commercial flights that are not published on the website. P.O.C. It's federal stalking under Title 18 while the videos are being uploaded onto the Wi-Fi of Ontario Wi-Fi, where the City of Ontario is engaging in surveillance on that website as well. Via that Wi-Fi network. P.O.C. That's helicopter activity, by the way. And that's gang stalking by Michael Gerken, sharing and gang stalking with the police. Okay, Ontario Fire, just like you saw in images under the fake sun hours earlier, still gang stalking me. The sirens stop sounding after they drive by me. They're driving by me where the fake sun is over me. They're doing so in concert with the Ontario Police Department that are gang stalking me under the fake sun, and they're monitoring evidence against itself. That's relevant to the federal prosecution of the police department, the fire department, the removal of from office Paul Leon, the demons that are gang stalking Alan D. Wapner, gang stalking via a whole airport, the demons that are engaging in Paul Leon is not exempted from a federal prosecution. He is threatening my life. He's engaged in threatening me while the demons use the police department, as I refer to Alan D. Wapner, as I refer to these gang stalking officials who are associated with pedophilia that they're engaging in as an entity. They're engaging in this pattern of conduct while I'm uploading the evidence, and that's federal stalking committed with the intent to obstruct justice. The fake sun didn't go anywhere. Where AMR is gang stalking in an ambulance hours earlier, it's 9:57 a.m. The fake sun's at the same Ontario Town Square over me. The engineer light that you can see on the ground, that's what they're driving and sounding. Those are demons who are manifesting, okay? Michael Gerken is a demon whose face you can Google right now and look at that demon. Demons have no business, as you're looking at their criminal conduct, their tendency toward pedophilia, their desire, their obsession with psychologically harming other people, and then wanting to maintain an appearance, represent themselves as otherwise. That's speaking to that's how public corruption exists. This is speaking to the disqualification, the necessity of removal of such demons like Michael Gerken. The entity is engaged in this pattern of conduct. The fake sun is still here, where the criminal conduct that the Ontario Fire Department are engaged in is evident. This is the same street where the Ontario Fire Department are gang stalking at 1 o'clock in the afternoon at Starbucks. They're engaging in the pattern of conduct where the fake sun's not going anywhere. I'm the one that they're stalking. Using a whole fire truck is the criminal waste of expenditures that Paul Leon is being removed from office for, that Michael Gerken is being removed from position for. These demons who are gang stalking, wasting millions of dollars in doing so, they're being removed, and they're also subject to a prosecution. This is Tracy Banks' co-defendant. This is Jason Isaac Fields' co-defendant. The people that have been defaming me in court using a secret conservatorship, these imbeciles were gang stalking and were relying on this idiotic system with regard to defaming the character of myself, the targeted individual. This is what they do to the ordinary targeted individual, and it is under all circumstances highly unintelligent. And the only way that this sort of ignorant conduct that is on its face corrupt, requiring the corruption of every level of government to engage in kidnapping while you're stalking through the police, and they're the ones that you're providing information about alleged criminal conduct, alleged mental illness, alleged bases of being even in their presence when you're engaging in the pattern of conduct at the outset. This is the entity that is going to necessitate the change of laws in this country. Okay, this is the entity that is engaged in that pattern of conduct, and the entity is doing it in your face, so that there is no question about the prosecution, and there's also no question about how the landscape in this country is necessarily changing. Those are the demons that are under a fake sun that was never at the Ontario Police Department today, stalking, while they are triggered by the truth that I speak. And these are pedophiles, and they engage in attacking children in a sexual manner in the same way. Ways in which need to be exposed so that children are not subject to the sexual advances of pedophiles that are stalking in helicopters, the Ontario Police Department. Demon-possessed gang stalkers who are stalking an American citizen in a manner that is speaking to severe mental illness, and that mental illness has a desire to violate young children. Engaging in sex trafficking them. This is what the Ontario Police is engaged in. This is what the Ontario Police is engaging in trying to protect by gang stalking American citizens while they are targeting me and engaged in repeatedly kidnapping. What do you think C. Hazelwood is engaging in on July 15, 2024? This demon is going to prison. And there is no question, while they continuously target and it's simultaneously being published on the internet, they're going to federal prison. This is an entity that's caught up in its own vicious cycle. And that return to sender includes being exposed for things such as pedophilia and also federal prison for every gang stalking cop, such as Corey Watson, who's under the fake sun, cheesing from ear to ear like a sex offender, like a psychopath. He's going to federal prison. All right, the entity is engaging in gang stalking with the department. This is what C. Hazelwood and O.N.C. Torres, you know their names. I name them every day. They're all going to federal prison. L. Edwards is gang stalking, not engaging in the duties of a police officer. And they are associated with engaging in trying to protect a system of pedophilia, trafficking children, having sex with children. The demon-possessed engage in sexually violating children, and that's what the Ontario Police Department are engaging in as demons who are gang stalking is also demonic activity. These demons that are gang stalking me are engaged in trafficking children and protecting those sex traffickers. This is the P.O.C. It's currently 10:01 p.m. and I just want to clarify. In the video where you see the fake sun and a video where you see the fake sun at this same Ontario Town Square until the evening, until sunset, this is where the entity is flying over the top of my head in that engineer light, maintaining flights that are not published on the Ontario International website pursuant to gang stalking. Myself, the one that is also documenting them. This is what the Ontario Police are doing while they're monitoring my vagina last night at 8:59 p.m., where they're engaging in ambush conduct, flying over me as I'm walking out of this same location where the fake sun is remaining until the end of the day. That's where demons are triggered by the truth that I speak. It is to the degree to where when you hear me documenting whatever it is that I'm discussing, and you hear the demons stalking by helicopter, that is literally verification regarding the demons that are triggered by the truth that I speak. And you can literally listen to the wealth of documentation where the Ontario Police are engaging in that. Flying over my head while I'm documenting them, that's not a coincidence. Flying over my head while I'm documenting and refer to them at the same time under a fake sun and a fake moon at night on this same street, those are the demons that are indeed engaged in pedophilia, that are engaged in trying to protect pedophiles, that are engaged in gang stalking me with the intent to murder. That's why they're engaging in kidnapping. Those are demons that are conspiring murder, not engaging in the execution of their duties as police officers. And you are not a police officer. You are not engaged in law enforcement. In fact, and the system of gang stalking is going to make a clear distinction. And gang stalking police officers that are actually conspiring murder and kidnapping of American citizens, engaging in a system of criminal surveillance where you're psychologically torturing American citizens, they're going to federal prison. This includes L. Martinez, C. Torres, B. Hook, Nathan Morgan, L. Edwards, A. Casada, Alex Escobar, C. Hazelwood, and Owens, and those are the kidnappers of 2025. Those are the only ones with regard to kidnapping, putting hands on me and taking me from one place to another, or attempted kidnapping like C. Hazelwood engaged in and Owens committed on July 15, 2025. They're engaging in surveillance. You're not exercising any authority under the Constitution, and you are a whole psychopath engaging in a conspiracy to murder me. They're gang stalking. There's a whole secret conservatorship that Tracy Banks and Jason Isaac Fields are maintaining, while the federal government has been targeting me for years, and the city of Ontario is targeting me. And that's the evidence that is speaking to criminal conduct, that gang stalking police officers, the names that I just mentioned, and more that are documented stalking me in furtherance of murder and theft of my property and kidnapping in an asylum. Okay? You're going to federal prison for it. The demons gang stalking under the fake sun, this same department, and the demons gang stalking by kidnapping me, you're going to federal prison. As clear as you hear that helicopter activity, L. Edwards, because you're listening to me and you're annoyed every day that I name you, but you are an example for every other gang stalking police officer in this country, and you're going to federal prison because they will learn from what you committed, and you did it on video. And you did it confidently on video. That's also why you're going to federal prison. It's currently 10:04 a.m. This is where the entity is stalking as a police department. And by the way, the sun was never over 2500 South Archibald at the Ontario Police Department. But that's what I documented at the Ontario Police Department. And I'm documenting the specific environment where surveillance is underway by psychopaths. And demon-possessed people, you need to understand that they are directly associated with perverted acts against children, pedophilia. This is relevant to the demented spiritual practices of the demon-possessed that are engaging in gang stalking. And it includes the police department that is, again, masquerading as engaging in law enforcement, and it's not even a persuasive masquerade. They're doing so under the fake sun and an engineer light. And they're doing so as I speak the truth about them. That's why they're flying over the top of my head as I'm referring to them. They're going to federal prison. They're doing their own selves and injustice. Okay, this is not helping L. Edwards' case, because I'm going to play this tape back about the proof about L. Edwards targeting me at Starbucks with the gang stalkers at 507 North Euclid Avenue. Where not only the fake sun is over me, but the fake moon at night, where the fake sun does not move from this street, where that Ontario Police Department that's gang stalking day in and day out, including at that Starbucks, well, then L. Edwards, with a straight face, went into that establishment with the intent to obstruct justice, confident that he will get away with committing that crime of terrorism and psychological torture while then committing a kidnapping. He's going to federal prison. And every criminal act by the Ontario Police Department that I'm documenting, both vicariously through the people of the state and by the City of Ontario, stalking by commercial planes, stalking by Michael GERKEN's fire department, that is aiming toward what is the imprisonment of gang stalking officers like L. Edwards. He's going to federal prison. And the entity has engaged in and has earned what is a return to sender with regard to the demonic practices of this government, and all of the evidence is speaking to what is necessary. Gang stalking officers are going to federal prison, and they're targeting with sex offenders like, first of all, Wells Fargo is gang stalking, and so is this sex offender driving this SUV, a Ford 2F50. He is wearing a hat with a mustache, license plate 96669P2. He is targeting me with impossible light activity at 10:06 a.m. where he's gang stalking with the City of Ontario. And that's the sexual violence, the mental illness, the pedophiles that are gang stalking. You need to understand that this is not just demon possession that's speaking to mental illness. This particular condition is what is the cause behind sexually perverted acts against children. They are engaged in pedophilia. Okay, and their criminal activity is also the evidence of their mental illness. Stalking someone, which the Ontario, there's no mystery. You're going to witness a prosecution of a whole airport used to stalk me specifically. But you need to understand that that evidence of mental illness, because that's extreme, that's demented, that's entirely psychopathic, and it's also the entity's addiction. And they're also delusional and demented, because while the evidence is then proven, now you're no longer looking like you don't even look like you're doing anything other than stalking. And so now what are you doing? You're delusional. Oh no, there's no evidence. I'm just going to keep on doing it. And now I'm going to do it even more. We're going to do 14 more planes at the same location. That's the entity's mental illness that you can witness. You need to know that the demon possessed that are engaging in gang stalking, they are sexually perverted. They engage in sexually perverted acts. They derive pleasure because of their condition. These are pedophiles. These are rapists. These are voyeuristic perverts. They are engaging in specifically sexually perverted and demented crimes against people, and it is related directly to their condition. Okay, it's currently 10:07 a.m. The Ontario Police Department is gang stalking while the Ontario International Airport is maintaining flight over this venue where it is not published on the website, and that is based on the criminal conduct in addition to the evidence that you are all witnessing, the presence of the fake sun. So let me go ahead and show you. That's amplification. It's on a microphone. That's not the natural audible noise of the plane. And there's also no planes that are going to be taken off over here when you're taking off from the Ontario International Airport at 2500 South Archibald. Okay, excuse me, that's the airport at 2500 Airport Drive. Okay, and they're doing donuts over the Ontario Town Square. That's it's amplified. It's demonic. The amplification is speaking to demons that are stalking, and those demons that are stalking in helicopters, those are demons that are stalking in commercial planes. And this is your ability to identify the demon possessed in positions where they need to be removed, such as Alan D. WAPNER, and gang stalking demons associated with commercial brands that you're familiar with. You need to understand that they murder American citizens. These are not accidents, these are acts of terrorism. Okay, license plate, gang stalking with the Ontario Police, gang stalking with the Ontario International Airport. That is Mike Lorenz and Alan D. WAPNER. License plate 8VXF855. crossing path under the fake sun. This is ongoing pacing, while amplified audible activity is serving for her criminal purpose of monitoring me. And that's, again, no matter the age, no matter what it is that you're looking at, you're talking about somebody that is engaging in homosexual conduct with regard to monitoring the vagina of a woman, and you see her with her boyfriend and you think that she's a heterosexual, you think that she's even a normal person. She's interested in sexually perverted things that you know nothing about as well. She's a demon. And she's also a terrorist, because that's how the law is going to treat this domestic terrorism. They are gang stalking as an entity. These are not individuals. This represents the entity, and it's all state action, and it's also psychopathic. Okay, so understand what the Ontario Police Department, why they're being disbanded, because of the mental illness, because of the criminal conduct, because of the public corruption, and also because of the threat that they pose to society as those that are associated with facilitating and serving to protect the pedophilia of this entity that is engaged in gang stalking, trafficking children, sexually violating children, where the demon-possessed are engaging in what is, in their minds, they're mentally ill. They are under the impression that they derive spiritual power over the entity, over the people that they target, where they're summoning demonic spirits, and that is occurring through sex with children. Okay, this is what the demon-possessed are practicing. This is what, again, the government is associating with while they're engaging in the satanic targeting system. You need to know the context regarding the pedophiles that are engaged in gang stalking. And this is pedophilia practiced as an entity. And this is what you are engaging in and facilitating as your gang stalking. All right, the entity is engaging in that pattern of conduct, and they're doing so. It's 10:10 a.m. and the fake sun is still here after 6 p.m. while they're monitoring my vagina, and I walk outside of the OVITT Family Community Library at 6:22 a.m., which I've already done. The fake sun is in the same position where Southwest Airlines is gang stalking, following the Ontario Police Department, where they're gang stalking using the most expensive means, speaking to severe mental illness, the most extreme, and it's also, let me be clear, it's also speaking to fear. Okay, you're not big and bad when you're stalking one little, I'm only 5'5", okay, 125 pounds. You're scared. You're dealing with spirits. These are, but again, Satan is projecting that and thinks that in their mind you appear big and mighty. No, you don't. You appear pathetic. You appear irresponsible as a public official when I'm then, all I'm doing is now legally analyzing and then providing common sense analysis with regard to who's being removed from office, who's engaged in the criminal conduct, who's going to be under ordinary circumstances. You're going to be removed from office, period, where this is happening on your watch. Because you're a part of it. You're a part of the same community. And if I go to the mayor's house in Ontario, guess where that fake son is? Outside of that pedophile's home, right over me. Just like everyone else in the city of Ontario, just like everywhere else where I'm documenting the P.O.C. Southwest Airlines and the Ontario Police Department, the Ontario International Airport, maintaining commercial flight over this address where the fake sun is remaining for the duration of the day, and it's never in a natural environment over the Ontario Police Department, contrary to what is already on the record at the same time, 9:32 a.m. And it's never in Monrovia, California, contrary to the record of what I'm documenting literally at this time of year, where the entities engaging in a pattern of conduct in that environment that is supernatural. You're always harassing and following around in helicopters. Those are the demons that are engaging in terrorism, psychological torture, targeting by corrupt police departments. The Ontario Police have engaged in kidnapping. That's a line that is requiring disbanding and federal prison. The entities engaging in, and you are witnessing the demon-possessed associated with pedophilia who are already embarrassed. They engage in more of it. That's the delusional conduct of what is an ego. These are demons who are not looking big and bad. They are, again, delusional. Tracy Banks is utterly embarrassed because she's been stalking her own daughter, because she thought with a high school education she was going to outsmart a law school graduate. And she thinks because I, with foresight, laid aside my law license because I'm not going to allow some ignoramus that's envious of me to jeopardize what it is that I earned by myself. She didn't put $1 in on my financing my legal education. Okay, this is a demon that's embarrassed while she's being exposed, while the police department that she's gang stalking me with, she's criminally defaming me with them, and they're the ones that are on video day, and she's going to federal prison. And they are together engaging in pedophilia as an entity. They're sex offenders. They are embarrassed by that. You're dealing with a spirit, okay? The spirit of Satan, the father of lies. This is their behavior. So now you already know that they're gang stalking. I'm going to give you a psychological breakdown right now. The entity that's engaging in this pattern of conduct is a spirit. This is the behavior, and you're going to prosecute that because the spirit that's inspiring your behavior
That's getting to now behavior. This is how you address it in the secular. Your behavioral health concerns that are resulting in criminal activity, that's a harm to the public and yourself. Oh, this is where you're getting to clinically diagnosing that. Okay, so it's, again, something that other people can be on notice about. And it's also relevant to a criminal prosecution, because that mental illness is not going to be an exception. You're going either into an asylum or prison for gang stalking as a corrupt police department. You're going to be disbanded where you're engaging in kidnapping. The federal government is not going to tolerate that. You're not going to do that. You're not going to exist and promote the message that, oh, you can get away with that and you can do some time in that police department. No, the years of documenting ongoing kidnapping by the Ontario Police is also speaking to what is necessary. Absolute removal, uprooting it altogether. It is an infection to the city of Ontario, and the demons that are dwelling in the city of Ontario, they need to experience the absence of that police department. It's a message, a reverberating message to all these demons. Who do you think that you're bullying? Whoever you think that is going to support you and protect you, that bully is the one that's going to be removed, and you're next. The entity is not going to engage in this, and that's exactly what they're engaging in. Now, with regard to this psychological complex, these are demons that are lying to themselves, and Satan is literally telling these demons to engage in more of the same, and it's going toward their prosecution. That's their demise. You're being prosecuted, and the world is watching you already prosecuted. They're sitting back watching you being exposed moment by moment. They're watching you being analyzed with regard to your behavior, which is relevant to evidence to prosecute you in a federal tribunal. Surround the rest of the country with federal laws with regard to what the rest of the country is doing while you're witnessing it. And yet these demons are telling themselves that they're accomplishing something by engaging in obvious criminal conduct that everybody is watching them engage in. Do you understand that gang stalking is supposed to be secretly executed? It's supposed to falsely depict the character of the one that's being targeted. They're supposed to, in other words, make me look like a paranoid schizophrenic. That's not happening. So now you are witnessing the return to sender. This is real life witchcraft that these demons have practiced, and they're experiencing the kickback. It's not working. Not only that, they're delusional. Why would you continuously do it in front of everyone, let alone at all, when your witchcraft isn't working? You're the one that's engaging in these sex rituals. You're the one that's praying to Satan. You're the one that's getting up, summoning, using voodoo dolls and summoning demonic spirits. And when you've been practicing so long, so you should have some sort of, don't you take a sample of what's going on in the atmosphere? If it's not working on me, where do you think it's going? What do you think is happening? The entity is in denial. They are delusional. I'm telling you, you're not dealing with normal human beings. When they are following Satan, you're dealing with dummies. That's a threat to people. That is a threat to the national security threat. They will engage in acts of violence. They will hurt as many people as possible. They will continue until they are restrained. They will continue until the day that they are forced to stop. They cannot deal with reality. They do not operate well with facts. That's what you're witnessing. And it is embarrassing at the same time, because they are aware of it. They just continuously lie to themselves. So you have flying over the top of my head in a helicopter. The demons are going to federal prison. L. Edwards, it's really happening. You're going to federal prison. It is actually going to happen. You're getting locked up, sir. And you are not getting out. The entities engage in this criminal conduct, and they are willing to sacrifice that because they're concerned with the way that they look. But under these circumstances, they don't look like anything other than the gang stalker that everybody knows that Erica Lorraine Spencer has established. And you also know that this is not only happening in San Bernardino County. I've been in many counties in order to establish the P.O.C. But you know through the specific environment, because the fake sun is over you in Florida. This is not exclusive to California, but California is going to be put on the map and being made an example of, because you thought that you were going to sacrifice a child of God who warned you years ago. And they're still gang stalking. That's relevant to these demons, these pedophiles, these Satan worshipers of the Ontario Police Department. What does that police department represent? That represents the corrupt executive branch. That's the highest threat that you're posing to American citizens who have a constitutional and human right to not be targeted, to not be subject to terrorism. We're not in Afghanistan. This is not that. Regardless of whether you respect the Constitution, you are going to be subject to it. And by the way, since you don't respect it, you're not qualified to be in this job. You're done with law enforcement. When you are engaging in terrorism as a police department, you're done. You are done. You're never being in law enforcement. You don't even like this country. That is what your behavior is demonstrating, improving. Don't worry. You're being relieved of your duties permanently. You're not going to be able to disguise yourself as some public servant in some other county where nobody knows your name. That's not going to happen. The Department of Justice is going to make sure of that. The entities engage in this pattern of conduct, and you are witnessing the entity that is delusional. The ego, that's relevant to the demonic spirit. It's affecting your behavioral health, the things that you do. Your mental illness, which is relevant to what is spiritual, okay? This is what's not discussed in the medical field, because you're typically dealing with what are they are anti-Christ, okay? So you're talking about dealing with what are spiritual issues with prescription drugs, which is making them money, okay? And they also will lie to you about your condition while they're spiritually attacking you and then telling you that you're mentally ill and you need to purchase these prescriptions. You need this attention. Those are the demons that are in the medical field. Okay, and the entity is engaged in this. So I want to be clear: the entity that's engaged in this pattern of conduct is pursuant to what is mental illness, which is rooted in their spiritual condition. These are demons, and they are delusional. And they're doing it to me when they're doing it in front of everybody else. They did it to me. I'm exposing. I'm not just blowing a whistle. This is a bullhorn. I'm on the top of the mountain. Everybody in the world is paying attention. And they're doing it with that level of audience. And that was never supposed to be the case. It's the exact opposite of what these demons bargained for, what they told Satan that they were going to accomplish. Not only did they fail in their sacrifice, their delusional mindset. Understand, you're witnessing mental illness when they're stalking in a helicopter on video, on podcast. That's the evidence of their mental illness. The prosecution is already done. L. Edwards is going to, we can go down a list of names. You can go through my video evidence. They're going to federal prison. You're listening to and witnessing mental illness, and this is informing what you need to be aware of. Gang stalking police officers in a city near you. Be on guard. Pay attention. Look at the news, and you're talking about people that are living their lives. They call the police to protect them because their neighbors are harassing them, and they end up shot dead in their kitchen. Those are demons. They're monitoring in this country. They commit murder, and then they sit in that corrupt gang stalking court, and they analyze what is the unfettered discretion that even those lacking a college education, they're in other words, holding up the decisions that these demons that are calling themselves law enforcement officers are making. There's an unfettered level of discretion that also needs to change. And they don't even have to have an education requirement. Any sociopath that wants to engage in violence against American citizens and masquerade as law enforcement officers who are supposed to be serving the public, that's what's engaging in gang stalking in this country. And they commit murder you're looking at it on the news every day. That's what's flying over my head, gang stalking in Ontario. And these demons manifest. That's what you're hearing. Audible activity, relevant positioning, and light activity. Under the fake sun that was present at this same Ontario town square where Michael GERKEN, the evidence of his criminal acts as a whole fire department is engaging in that. And they would rather me talk about that than the fact that murders are occurring in this country where we are not different from Baghdad and Afghanistan. Unfortunately, the only difference between these demons in this country is that they like to make money. They like to drive around in Teslas. They like to call themselves and esteem themselves as being something important like a mayor or a chief of police. And they're not different from Osama bin Laden. They're not different. They are a domestic enemy. And this is requiring what is taking a forceful stand. And everybody's going to witness the absence of the Ontario Police Department. And that is a lesson. Everyone's going to witness that, the absence of that entire department. And that is a nationwide lesson. And that's what you're listening to. They're delusional. They are delusional. And those are demons that are fearful. I want to be clear. When demons are fearful, you just listen to it. They engage in more criminal activity. That is translating. You need to understand that's a threat to the public. Okay, so let me put it in terms of maybe you will understand more. Strapping bombs to themselves and walking into buildings, killing as many people as they can until they're out of time. Okay, taking as much guns as they have, shooting as many people as possible. When they're fearful, when they know that they're going to suffer the consequences, doing as much damage as they can, committing as much violence as they can until the moment that they can't anymore. That's what the demon-possessed do. You are gang stalking. This is psychological warfare. They're trying to psychologically murder someone. They want to kill you with no hands. Okay? That's not a heart attack that you're suffering. That's not a brain aneurysm. It's not asphyxiation when the absence of no evidence of any other person there. It's witchcraft. Okay? Now, this is not a Salem witch hunt. That is not constitutional, and that's also not what this is going toward, whatever. But you need to not be ignorant. It is always going to be that which is proven in a court of law with evidence, tangible evidence. Okay? You don't prosecute through intuition. You don't prosecute through discernment. Oh, but that discernment, that can get you to some tangible evidence. That's what you're witnessing right now. Okay? And it's also relevant to informing you what these demons that sought to target someone and thought that nobody was ever going to know about it, they systematically murder people. They systematically engage in copyright infringement via gang stalking. They make movies. They write music. They engage in business creation after targeting an American citizen whose idea it was in the first place. Okay? And they know who you are. This is how I have a population of quote unquote strangers stalking me. They're demons. These are spirits, dark spirits, and they're engaging in an identical pattern of conduct. Now, this is the reality. This is the ability to no longer refuse. It's not about your constitutional right to freedom of expression and deny the reality of Christ if you want to. You engage in that blasphemy at your own, that's your own decision to make. But there are consequences for your decision. But I want to be clear. This is going beyond your freedom of religion rights in this country, because this is hardcore evidence if you lack the faith in what Scripture has told you about who Christ is. God is real, and his name is Jesus Christ. And he is coming back. And he is giving a warning. He has exposed Satan. He has exposed Satan's workers. He has exposed all of Satan's tactics. And that is because he's coming back. It is an act of mercy. If you have not already repented, you don't have all day. You don't have every day. Tomorrow is not promised. Today is the day of salvation, is what Scripture says. Today. He will not always strive with you. He's not always going to do that. These demons are so far down the rabbit hole, their mind is gone. They cannot repent if they wanted to. Those demons are hostile to even the truth that I speak about what they're doing. You know why? Because those egos that they have, that's a demonic spirit. Those egos are hostile because they find a false sense of confidence and arrogance and pride in doing something that nobody knows. Oh, nobody knows. We're about to execute this and nobody's going to see this coming. We're going to take Erica out. And we're going to take her money too. And nobody's going to know about it. They think they're slick. And guess what? That's a shatter to that ego. That's a spirit that's hostile because I see them. And I'm letting you know because I want you to see them. And you see them through the environment, you see them through the behavioral pattern. And what you also see, this is informing how you are able to protect yourself. Okay, this is not about going and engaging in violence against your city police that you know are gang stalking, okay, that are engaged in surveillance, unconstitutional conduct. It's about being informed. It's about protecting yourself because you know what's going on in this country. You know what's going on in the times that we're in. That's what you need to be aware of. And they're not accidents. It's not just a misfortunate overuse of force. Those are demons. Those are demons that are on the force, that are engaging in targeting American citizens, and they're looking for a reason to take your life. They're looking for it. They're looking for one. And then the entity upholds those decisions in corrupt courts. Surveillance is underway through the state. Law enforcement in this country that's engaged in the satanic targeting system are in a satanic means of surveillance. It's occurring in the environment. The fake sun, the engineered light. This is not the sun over you wherever you are in this country. This is not sunlight that's all over everywhere. How are you covered in sunlight and you're looking at the sun remaining over me at the Ontario Town Square from morning until evening, where a police department is going to be disbanded for their foolishness, for their stupidity, for the whole world to witness? How is that sunlight over you? It is not, and that is not rocket science either. The entities engaged in this pattern of conduct, and it's satanic. You have what is law enforcement in this country that's not there to serve, contrary to how Satan wants to present itself. Public servants, they're there. Actually, that's what law enforcement is supposed to, and they're going to be held to that. They're going to be held to it. Okay, it's not just a fond abstract theory that sounds good, but it is that. That's how they're engaging in it. It's just there to condition your mind to make you think that it's not happening, and it's not happening because they take an oath and because they're wearing those badges and because it says that they are their public servants, and so they are being public servants and they are in the right and they're not doing any wrong because of that fact in and of itself. 6 NVE 711. There is no surveillance by the police because the Constitution exists and because you have a Fourth Amendment right against unlawful search and seizure. So therefore, the police are not engaged in surveillance. That's the entity that's engaging in what is creating those illusions through the existence of laws that they do not actually, in fact, they're not actually governed by them. That is, however, exactly what they will be governed by as I am enforcing my rights, and American citizens are no longer ignorant about this malicious system. Okay, just because they don't actually regard the Constitution is very much real. And they're going to be held accountable under that Constitution. And with regard to laws that shall come into existence based on the exposure of this corrupt system in the United States. Okay, it's very disappointing, but this is the reality, and this is factual, actual information. All right, the entities engaging in this pattern of conduct, and it's satanic. And so you need to understand that law enforcement in this country, they are not designed, and actually the purpose is not to be public servants and protect the public. They're there to engage in surveillance. They're engaging in surveillance unbeknownst to you. They're engaging in surveillance, and they're engaging in what is forceful acts in order to continue that surveillance in secret, while coexisting with what is a constitutional construct. And that's supposed to directly rebut. That's, in other words, because of the Constitution, you're never going to suspect that you're under surveillance. Okay? Because the Constitution is there, period. All right, the P.O.C. is letting you know what you're subject to. The P.O.C. is what you know that you're surrounded by, whatever state that you're in this country. And it is also informing how you conduct yourself, what's going on with you and your children, the decisions you make with your family, all right? What it is and who you decide to be around and work and live and travel, etc. That's what it is. It's not about instilling fear, and that is not of God. That's not a spirit of fear that he's spreading. He's giving you information, and it's also a warning because he is coming back, and it is an act of mercy for the Lord God to reveal and to engage in this level of judgment against the wicked, because it's a warning, because he's coming back, and he's coming back in judgment. And time is up. When he's coming, when you're saying it's too late. It's too late then. All right, it's currently 10:29 a.m. and I just want to be clear, that's what you're witnessing. It's pathetic. It is pathetic. And it's also very foolish. And that's because I'm not dealing with sane people. And I'm also going to prosecute for that. That's a threat to me. Such level of stupidity, while they're also on the same time on the police force, just stalking willy-nilly, bearing weapons and exercising authority under the Constitution that they don't have. And they're absolute fools. Stupid, too stupid to know maybe that's not a good idea, because that is going to revisit. We're going to revisit that in a courtroom. Okay, that foolishness is what is murdering people. That's a threat while you're stalking me like that. You're a whole fool out here. You're an idiot, and you're stalking me as a corrupt police department. I'm going to prosecute for that. That's an unlawful threat to my life. And then you have corrupt third parties on the venue of the internet, such as YouTube. Pay attention to my social media where I am publishing the criminal acts of obstruction of justice, which I'm going to prosecute for. Okay? YouTube is engaged in surveillance. You were just never supposed to know that. These companies that are making billions of dollars, Google, they're engaged in surveillance. They create the technology. They create the social media platforms for you to participate in it. And then they're engaging in what is this ongoing illusion of privacy. There is no privacy. And moreover, that's a tangent, because I'm documenting on the venue of the internet where it is necessarily going to be exposed the fact that the government is threatening my life, conspiring my murder, and then you're going to remove my evidence while my life remains under threat. I'm going to prosecute YouTube with this very evidence. I'm going to prosecute that. This mental illness, you're stalking me, a bunch of pedophile sex offenders stalking me to the extent of in a bathroom, stalking me everywhere that I'm going, using helicopters, police departments, stalking in commercial planes, and YouTube, removing my intellectual property, evidence that's serving to protect me so that you know where I'm at. The entity will lie, say I'm in an alley shooting up crack cocaine, or however you take cocaine, sniff it, shoot it, whatever, that I'm high on drugs, and the entity is then finding my dead body because I killed myself. That's what they do. Publishing the evidence is relevant to your life, relevant to prove that the entity is targeting what happened, the last place that I was at, the last thing that I documented, and it would be shown, because I ain't going nowhere. Excuse me. I'm not going anywhere, okay? I'm going to prosecute, and I'm getting justice, and I'm getting every dime that these demons stole from me. All right, the entity is engaging in the pattern of conduct, and your removal of evidence that is protecting the terrorists, I'm going to prosecute you for that. The audacity to interfere in a public investigation of the government. It needs to be public. They engage in, by gang stalking, this is a public execution. The entity's gang stalking, and these demons are all monitoring on their communication device, getting a kick while they're gang stalking it together as an entity. They're publicly engaging in targeting somebody. And it's an unspoken system, but they're publicly, and guess what? That return to sender includes a public investigation. And it's published all over the internet. Pay attention to my Instagram. It is at the handle is this is the P.O.C. because I'm putting video evidence that YouTube, the latest that YouTube has removed from the website. And it is very damning evidence, by the way. All of the evidence is relevant to the pattern of conduct, okay? But I will say there is video evidence where you'll see, for example, me documenting the people of the state or a state actor that are acting directly, because they're all state actors, okay? So the entity acting vicariously, rather, okay? To be more precise, I'm talking about the people of the state using their, a third party using their vehicle with their hazard lights on, stalking in the path. I'll capture a video like that. That is within the P.O.C. That's very important evidence as well. But you have damning evidence. The Los Angeles Police Department flying over my head under the fake sun when I'm in L.A., same time of year, with regard to what the Ontario Police Department are doing in Ontario, California, what the Monrovia Police Department are doing in Monrovia, California. This when I'm talking about same time of year, June and July and August, same time of year. The LAPD, the Monrovia PD, the Ontario PD are gang stalking. As you can look at that body of evidence, you're removing a video that has damning facts that are captured in HD, because there will be no denying the evidence that I have gathered against the government that's going to be disbanded the Ontario Police for kidnapping amongst what is targeting me, which is proven beyond a reasonable doubt. And it's a pattern amongst corrupt police departments, corrupt law enforcement agencies, because it's the sheriff's departments as well. All right, the entities engaged in this P.O.C. and they're removing evidence. The LAPD is flying over my head. The fake sun's over the top of my head. I'm at Alvarado Gardens where I'm documenting routinely the fake sun is rising through my living room window at Alvarado Gardens, which is not going to be at Economy Inn on Euclid Avenue. It's not going to be at Metro 102 Apartments. It's not going to be at the Ontario Town Square. It's not going to be reflecting off of the Wells Fargo while I'm on Omnitrans bus driving north on Euclid Avenue. At no time of day ever is that coexisting. At the same time of year, nor on the at the same time, at any time of year, daylight savings time, giveaway, or take an hour, you are never reconciling that. So this is proving the existence of that surveillance. And then who's engaging in surveillance? LAPD. And how are they doing it? Through the hallmark of what is helicopter activity. And they're doing it while I'm in the workplace. This is the same entity that wants to falsely depict my character, stating that I'm gravely disabled with regard to what is the Welfare and Institutions Code, where they use what is gang stalking you as a basis to falsely depict your character and artificially engineer mental illness. And the entity wants to remove evidence of this. This is what YouTube is engaging in. You are not exercising any rights pursuant to your company. And the targeted individual that is also impoverished. You will publish, this is establishing precedent. You will not interfere in any public investigation of the government. Surveillance is underway on the venue of the internet as well. And because you are, again, because it's before a federal conviction, that's not giving you any support. I'm going to prosecute you. They're maliciously acting. YouTube is the same venue that removed my evidence about the fake sun. Whose private information am I exposing when I'm showing the fake sun over me at the OVITT Family Community Library? No physical body is even in that video. You know what the entity was doing? These demons were stealing my documentation, letting another gang stalker use it, like Tracy Banks, and the rest of these demons on the venue of the internet on YouTube. And while they're removing my evidence online, I'm going to prosecute YouTube. I'm going to prosecute. This is the entity, but they're removing very damning evidence, and they're going to regret that. While the entity is gang stalking me, threatening my life, like you hear, I'm going to prosecute YouTube. And this is the entity that's threatening my life by stalking by a police department. I'm going to prosecute YouTube. And in the same manner that the Ontario International Airport is gang stalking, the Ontario Police Department is being disbanded. In the same way that the government that you're listening to is stalking directly, that's a prosecution of the people of the state committing kidnapping at Starbucks and at Woodside Senior Apartments and at what is the OVITT Family Community Library. And this is how that entity that's targeting us, one, I'm systematically breaking it down as you use what is the law to prosecute them for the conspiracy to target an American citizen. And that conspiracy that is implied through the pattern of conduct in the specific environment, that's a comprehensive prosecution. These demons are dummies. They don't have any logical reasoning skills. You know what they do? They engage in pacing. They do so in engineered light, and they do so pursuant to your movements. They're not engaging in any reasoning. They're not engaging in any higher thinking. They're not engaging in any prudent forethought. They're not engaging in any of that. They're stalking me, monitoring my vagina. Meanwhile, I'm sitting up, analyzing everything that they're doing, prosecuting, establishing the pattern of conduct in order to maintain a body of evidence, tangible evidence, submissible in a federal court in order to prosecute them. They can't focus on that, though. They're demons. You're not dealing with human beings. They're dummies. This is Satan, a spirit that's using them like puppets, by the way. And he's going to drag them to hell if they don't repent. And these demons are gone. They've been doing this for decades. I'm documenting a dead people. They're dead. The entity is engaging in this, and the entity is doing so with regard to what is a comprehensive body of evidence. And while the government engages in targeting me, this is relevant to what YouTube and no third party on the venue of the internet shall engage in absent a severe prosecution. Because why? They're the target individuals that are subject to death. They just come up missing. They're subject to kidnapping. The Ontario Police Department, the San Bernardino County Sheriff's Department, and the Rancho Cucamonga Superior Court have already shown you the unlawful threat that third parties on the venue of the internet like YouTube pose when you are removing evidence off the venue of the internet. Where surveillance is underway, by the way. That's the threat posed to the target individual. Kidnapping, murder, just outright disappearance, and then theft of that intellectual property. If they find it so impressive, oh, no, I'm just going to go ahead and take that and make money off of it. But that's an unlawful threat to my liberty, to my safety, to my life. And YouTube is not ignorantly posing that threat. Literally, while I'm capturing day in and day out, stalking by a police department, that's a threat to your life. I'm going to prosecute for the unlawful removal, the unlawful interference. That's a federal charge, by the way. It's obstruction of justice, to put it generally speaking, with a public investigation of the U.S. government. That's not any sort of right with regard to your company regarding community guidelines. The government that's targeting you does not have any privacy, by the way. The government is targeting via Wells Fargo. That's not a private company. The company is targeting via YouTube. They're not a private company. And they're targeting when you're engaging in facilitating conduct, such as removing evidence that serves to prosecute that entity. Third-party status is established by your conduct. Third-party status is established by what is the engagement in that P.O.C. For example, the specific environment. You're a third party. This is the illusion that the government presents when they're exploiting the Constitution and wanting to present as private citizens, and no, they're not. And it's not private property either. And I'm going to prosecute you because that's malice. Under that same exploitation, that's how you commit kidnapping. I'm going to prosecute. The entity is not well thought out at all. All they are is obsessed demons stalking, and they are so in denial with regard to what is they sacrifice themselves. And so they're keeping productive, okay? Because Satan is watching, these demons are watching, they're coming to collect, and so they're keeping productive because they cannot fathom what it is that they've done, and they lost in the sacrifice. And you're witnessing why you should not be walking with Satan. If you're practicing voodoo, you're practicing black magic, you're practicing witchcraft. The scripture specifically speaks against engaging in that. You will end up engaging what is sacrificing your life when you target people. I want to be clear. Let me make another step. I'm going from point to point. Follow me, okay? The entity is engaging in the pattern of conduct, and this is revealing what is the practice of Satanism, witchcraft. In case you did not know, that is of the devil. It is of Satan. And scripture specifically speaks against it, and this is why. And it's not a matter of you being your own God and making it, okay, well, I'm a white witch, okay? And so we do things to help people, and I don't do things, I don't use voodoo, and I don't use black magic, and I don't do, evil things to harm people. I do things to help people, and you are doing witchcraft in doing so, and I want to be clear, there's only one God, okay? And I recognize that there is a distinction, and I know that. There are actually people that use what is witchcraft, okay? It's witchcraft for what they deem good purposes. But I want to be clear with regard to scripture, what God has said, and there is only one God. You are not God, and you make yourself God when you make exceptions for yourself. Well, I'm doing witchcraft, and the Bible clearly says not to do any manner of witchcraft at all, okay? And there are no exceptions when you stand before him. There's not going to be any exceptions. There's also not going to be an exchange. You're not going to sit there and debate with Christ. It's not going to happen. That's a reality. Okay, and he is a holy God, and he has stated for our own good, and there's a reason why. Even though you may not be doing black magic, you're not engaged in trying to murder people using witchcraft so that nobody knows that they were a product of a satanic means of targeting. You may not be, but you are not the only person, and you're not creating some sort of exception, and you are also not God. There is a reason why he has set all together for our own protection, which is why the Lord God in scripture tells us what to do in our lives is for our own protection. It literally is. And obedience to him is where your protection is at. And there is no need when you are submissive to Lord God and what his will is. You don't need to be using any witchcraft in the first place at all. To what? Get a husband? Walk with Christ. If that is your will, you need to walk with him and get to know him. He is supposed to be your first husband. All right, I'm not going to go into preaching, but there is this is my knowledge and my walking with him. There is no excuse to be engaging in this, and you're looking at what is an outright abysmal failure, what is an embarrassing testimony regarding serving Satan, practicing witchcraft, engaging in these dark acts. And I also want to be clear, it does apply to those that make a distinction. Well, I'm not doing that because I'm a white witch and I use witchcraft for good purposes, okay? And in scripture, there is no such distinction. And that is if you have any intention to acknowledge Christ. He is the Messiah. He is the true and living God. He is the one who came and died having committed no sin. And God himself, the Spirit of God in that body, his name is Jesus Christ, and he rose from the dead, and he is alive and well. He is coming back. Okay? The Lord and Savior Jesus Christ is his name. His name is not Buddha. His name is not Allah. Okay? He is not it's not the Muslim faith. It is exclusive with regard to who the true and living God is. And he has a specific name. His name is Christ Jesus. And scripture speaks of before he came and satisfied that prophecy. And scripture also speaks of what's to come. And it's coming very soon. He is coming back. And he is giving warnings. And it is an act of mercy when you are witnessing massive acts of judgment, such as the prosecution of the state revealing a bunch of demons who practice witchcraft, who systematically murder in ways in which are highly malicious because you're not supposed to know. And typically it's no hands. They're using spells in order to murder people. And then they're sitting around like roaches, taking all of that person's belongings, and it's government action. Meanwhile, they're playing cops and robbers, reporting it on the news as something that the entity is going to then investigate, and nobody knows, and we're taking, statements, and we're going to interview suspects, and they're playing cops and robbers. The only difference with regard to this country and third world countries is that in the United States, we like to dress up nice and drive fancy cars and create a hierarchy amongst ourselves, lower class, middle class, upper class, the 2% or the 1%, those that are in positions of power, and everybody else that is subject to it. Those that, in other words, a capitalistic society where we like to make money, a lot of money. But in many ways, that's not different from other countries because they are the same. They have the same obsession with money. It's just that you don't have things such as a constitution, where there's an illusion of equal rights under the law, equal protection, an illusion of privacy, all right, an illusion of protection from the government that can't just barge into your home for no reason, at least not yet, okay? We're not there yet in time, in history, but it's getting there. So the entities engage in this pattern of conduct, and I want to be clear, we're different, but we're not so different. And in fact, I have more, but I'm going to say it because I actually mean this. I have more respect for the wicked if you could be up front with what it is that you like to do. In other words, these despotic regimes in other countries, these third world countries that enslave their citizens, at least they're upfront. And they're obvious. They don't try to snake around and okay, we're making you think that you're free. We're going to create this illusion of freedom. And meanwhile, we're going to have a whole secret execution of this same system where there is no such freedom at all. In fact, you're under heavy surveillance. Everything that you do concerning the status of your genitalia is under surveillance. Okay, that level of hypocrisy, I don't respect that. Okay, and that's what's wrong with the United States. In other countries, they are at least upfront. They know that they don't have the freedom of speech. They know that they can't just get on the internet and look at what they want. They know that they just can't say whatever they want about the government. They know that there are consequences, and I'm not advocating for that. That is inhumane. But I'm stating at least they are upfront with what they are and what they're doing. In the United States, they are hypocrites, they're cowards, they're liars, they're murderers, they're cold-blooded, cold-hearted, inhumane creatures. And they want to appear one way, and that's Satan that wants to appear as an angel of light. And actually, they are maniacal psychopaths that are guilty of the most egregious, most unfathomable things as a society. This is a population of demons. The Ontario Police Department aren't a bunch of demons gang stalking by themselves. You're maintaining airlines. The airlines are targeting me. The entities engaging in a whole system. They're dead. And this has been in existence for years. And what you're listening to while the entity is gang stalking me, flying over my head, very foolish provision of evidence. This is the entity that's exhibiting mental illness, which is informing. It's informing you regarding the threat that the demon possessed, which is relevant to mental illness, whose behavior is illogical. Their behavior is irrational. Their behavior is more aggressive as they are exposed. The demon possessed don't like those demonic spirits. They don't like it. Satan does not like it. Satan is very much hostile to it. I'll use that word. Very much hostile to being exposed, not only spiritually, but with regard to the criminal conduct that these demons are engaging in. They don't like it. Okay, and Satan is going to become increasingly desperate, and you're witnessing that with regard to the entity that's stalking. Why would you do that? You're going to sit in court. Not only is this a failed sacrifice to Satan, you're going to be in court with this evidence. Literally, you're going to play the tape back, and it's going to be studied with regard to what the entity is doing and what are they doing on July 15, 2025. What are they doing on May 29th, 2025? Okay, what are they doing in January of 2020? Jason Knight and Lester Keys, what are they doing? What are they doing? What is Patty doing on June 18, 2021? What are they doing? All right, this is the entity that's engaging in that pattern of conduct, and this is evidence that's they're prosecuting themselves, and that is it's moot at this point. It is moot. You need to be advised about the mind state, the demented mind state of those domestic terrorists that are of this condition. And it is also literally the testimony to the reality of Christ Jesus, the true and living God, who loves you and died for you, and he is alive and he is willing to accept you. If you would submit yourself and repent of your sins and accept him in your heart as your Lord and Savior, and admitting that he is Christ Jesus, that you believe that he died on the cross and he rose from the dead so that you could have life with him, because you were not designed to be in hell like Satan and all of his dark angels. That was not made for us. That was not created for us. It never was. Satan is deceiving as many people, and so in order that they will be dragged into hell with him. Satan hates you. He hates your guts. He hates you. You're made in God's image. He hates you. While these demons are sitting up, these demon-possessed people are sitting up serving him. They're deceived by him. He tricked them. They were never going to get this sacrifice. I was never going to be murdered by the entity. They were never going to accomplish stealing my money, my property. They were never, it was a trap. It was literally a means of enticement because it's judgment. They've been murdering people. They've been kidnapping people. They've been destroying the lives of people. Now, with regard to prosecuting it, coming from a standpoint of being an American citizen, everybody has a right to not be subject to that. But this is judgment. Judgment of a country, and it's judgment of a people. It's judgment of Satan, those that are in darkness, thinking that nobody is watching them. God is watching. God is watching. And even though nobody wants to do the right thing, the Lord God will find one who will, okay? And they will speak unapologetically. And by the way, there is no demon in hell that ever intimidates me. It will never. It's not going to happen. It's impossible. You're a demon. You're scared of me. That's why you're stalking me in a helicopter, because that makes you feel safe. That makes you feel more powerful. I'm 5'5", 125 pounds. Those are demons that are scared of me. But I'm going to prosecute with that. Because it's not about how I actually, or whether or not my actual fear, it's about reasonable fear, because I'm advocating on behalf of the ordinary target individual. And I maintain a constitutional human right to not be stalked by a corrupt police department that is obsessed with my genitalia, keeping me under surveillance and engaging in terrorizing and harassing me using helicopters. And clearly you don't have anything else to do. So we're going to remove that police department altogether. And the gang stalking mayor that's permitting it to happen, you're out of office. You're going to deal with all of the ongoing correlating issues relevant to this pattern of conduct. No, I'm fine. But don't worry, I'm digressing now. It is currently 10:49 a.m. This is the pattern of conduct. I'm at the Ontario Town Square where you know the fake sun. All right, Wells Fargo at 240 North Euclid Avenue is gang stalking as an establishment. Everybody employed in that establishment is gang stalking. Again, it is August 13th, 2025. It's currently 10:54 a.m. Everybody on the job inside of Wells Fargo. And actually at all hours, every business is engaged in criminal monitoring. It's not limited to the work schedule, but I want to be clear with regard to the demons that are inside of this establishment, gang stalking me on the job right now. They are engaging in the P.O.C. and they're doing so on the job at the establishment of what is Wells Fargo, which is adjacent to the Ontario Town Square. And the fake sun remains over me at this same venue as I exit the library in the evening. Wells Fargo is a gang stalking company. It's relevant to, by the way, the financial industry. 8EZA 850, 9NJB 782. That's the demon gang stalking from Woodside Senior Apartments. He's also on video gang stalking me at the DeBoer Professional Building with the Ontario Police Department. That's federal prison, already documented him, and he's here at Wells Fargo gang stalking. 9HLE 101, gang stalking with under the fake sun, using his hazards to go into the gang stalking establishment, going onto the cameras of the ATM while he's criminally monitoring. This is why you're going to prosecute Wells Fargo and every other gang stalking venue. License 9HMS 049, 9HYX 773. Wells Fargo is providing a facilitating means of gang stalking by the entity that's supposed to appear on the surface as normal. Everything, nothing to see here, folks. Ordinary business, and it's nothing ordinary at all. You're going to drain the pockets of gang stalking companies that are engaging in terrorizing American citizens. 9HYX 773, 9LXD 077, 9F. HV442, 6XCP114, and this may very well be an employee license 8VXF855 with blonde hair. This is the female that I documented driving out of the parking lot while the Ontario Police was flying over and the Ontario International Airport was flying over. She's returned to the parking lot. And I'm identifying a female because that's what was driving the vehicle when she was monitoring me in crossing path in this parking lot earlier. 7EBH 528 53444E4. That is Securitas Technology Corporation. That is a commercial vehicle. UPS is gang stalking at the Ontario Town Square. You already know that. They're gang stalking with their commercial planes. That company is readily identifiable. They are headquartered in Atlanta, Georgia. They're engaged in monitoring American citizens throughout this country. They are psychopaths that drive commercial vehicles, psychopaths that fly commercial planes, gang stalking one person. That's a lot of money used on criminal stalking. And they do so in concert with the government and the people of the state who are vicariously acting as the government. And it is under the malicious guise of people going about minding their business in the United States, private citizens, and first of all, at public property. And they're all gang stalking together. License plate 7RFT950. License 9MXJ782. License plate 7GML649. That's a spirit that you're hearing gibberish in the background. They're monitoring. It's a spirit though. License WERL. Hold on. WERLIVE. These are demons stalking. As I walk, they're stalking. It's not traffic. 7DOF880. 9BTN048. And how do you know the proof of what it is that I'm speaking? The fake sun moves as I move. They're stalking. License 9FGM391. It is currently 10:58 a.m. Stalking in the path, meeting at the driveway. License 9MED346 6ZFY413. License, this is City of Ontario, stalking in the path day and night. This is the removal of Paulion. License 1678097. The municipality is engaged in state surveillance and sexual violence, domestic terrorism, and psychological torture. 9GXZ206 and kidnapping. License, these demons are pacing. Go ahead. This is P.O.C. They're just pacing. They're driving around. And how do you know they're stalking? When I walk at the same entrance of the library at 3 and 4 in the afternoon, it's still here. These demons are going dizzy. These are psychopaths. These are the demon-possessed that conspire murder as an entity. These are the demon-possessed that are violent sex offenders, worshiping my vagina while they're stalking as well. They're sexually obsessed. And they're also engaging in what is targeting obsessive stalking. And the police department is doing so while they are engaging in this means of surveillance. License plate EC44B34. That's a paper plate on an old Honda Accord. An engineer light crosses, across the sidewalk while they're driving by. Not only is this not the sun, that's not sunlight. That's also the identification of a stalker and the identification of a demon. And the identification of a sex offender, because they're monitoring my vagina as an entity. It's currently 10:59 a.m. Here's another one. License 9KUD292. The OVITT Family Community Library is where these demons are stalking. They're walking inside of the library stalking. They're stalking with noise inside of the library. They're sitting up monitoring, obsessing over me. They're not even concerned about their job as librarians. Their entities engaging in what is surveillance. They're obsessively engaging in that. It's the living dead that fills this venue. And they're stalking incessantly until the moment that I walk out, and the demons are then following everywhere that I go. And it's one entity. It's currently 10:59 a.m. License plate. I've documented this sex offender. Here again, WERLIVE. That's the correct license plate. Turning on the sprinklers. That's activity creation. License 9NUJ446. That's the City of Ontario using the sprinklers as a means of activity. License JRA732. That's Arizona. License 8MPZ986. City of Ontario, crossing path in a municipality vehicle. These are psychopaths that work for the city. It's sad. 1678097. This is sad. This is public corruption. The mayor is gang stalking. The Ontario City Hall is on the opposite side of the OVITT Family Community Library. The gang stalking institution, College of Laverne, University of Laverne College of Law, they're a gang stalking institution. They're monitoring. And they're equally psychotic. They're equally sexually perverted. They're equally corrupt. They're equally demonic. They just are associated with legal studies. They're a gang stalker. P.O.C. It's 11 a.m. All right, it is currently 3:35 p.m. This is documentation of the City of Ontario that you can see, and you're witnessing clearly engaging in terrorism and harassment, gang stalking at the Ontario Town Square under the fake sun. And it is the exact same circumstance, the exact same criminal engagement, the exact same psychopathic targeting that's underway inside of the building that is referred to as the City of Ontario's OVITT Family Community Library. The community of demons are engaging in ongoing stalking with impossible light, stalking with amplified noise as demons who are sitting around engaging in surveillance inside of a library. This is mental illness, the special needs that are all engaging in targeting together in concert with the City of Ontario that you see stalking with commercial planes, that you see stalking with helicopters, that you see stalking under that specific environment. That is the fake sun. That is all underway inside of the library. Okay, and the entities engaged in what is maintaining amplified booming noises, and this is the quiet area in the library. This is a long documented pattern of conduct. I've been documenting that the OVITT Family Community Library employed that are employing kidnappers who are going to federal prison. The entities maintaining ongoing amplified booming noises, boom, 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 with the same demonic pattern of conduct pursuant to demons that know what I'm doing on my phone, demons that are also monitoring my vagina, demons that are engaging in stalking inside of a library, not concentrating on what they're doing on a laptop, not going in any particular destination inside of the library. When they get up, walk, slam their chair, engage in a conversation, engage in putting a book on a shelf, which is creating amplified noise. When they're engaging in the use of the keyboard, the use of the printer, everything that sounds as though it's on a microwave, where the demons are engaging in gang stalking while they're stalking around one person, because that's all they're doing while they have multiple shadows inside of the library. These are demons that are sex offenders, and these are the demons that are the pedophiles inside of a family community library. This is OVITT Family Community Library that is associated with pedophilia, associated with what is criminal monitoring, Satanism, and domestic terrorism, while the entity is maintaining the specific environment inside of the library and in real time, 3:37 p.m., maintaining ongoing, this is documentation of harassment. So the entity that, in other words, let me give you a practical outworking of this. The entity that committed kidnapping on June 16, 2022, there is no statute of limitations, and those documented terrorists and sex offenders are going to federal prison. And I've been documenting the ongoing impunity by this entity. There is no change in residence. There is no change in employment. There is no relocation out of the city of Ontario that is going to cause any evasion from federal prison. And those gang stalkers that are on video engaging in criminal summoning with the gang stalkers that are on video today, still gang stalking at the Ontario Town Square, with, again, across the turn circle, the opposite side of the same property, the fake sign is remaining over this library, which is speaking to criminal monitoring underway while the entity maintains a harassing and terrorizing environment conducive for monitoring. Those kidnappers are going to prison. Okay, the entity is engaging in that pattern of conduct and doing so in the specific environment pursuant to what is federal stalking under Title 18, and all the gang stalking patrons are just engaging in what is congregating inside of this venue, psychopath stalking with noise. As I operate my devices, the demons are engaging in maintenance. All of them are of the same demon possession, so you have a bunch of demon-possessed people that are taking turns with regard to stalking with noise. Psychopaths that are engaging in that, not looking at you, not addressing you. Again, demons don't have to, and this is speaking to the mental illness here. You need to know that psychopaths and sex offenders are engaging in surveillance in the United States. All right, so there is a large community of demons that are inside of the OVITT Family Community Library. Again, this is located at 215 East C Street in Ontario, California, 91764. Every employee is engaged in state surveillance. Every patron is engaged in state surveillance, and this is the malicious guise of what is an obvious pattern of conduct. This is the same library that I walked out of last night at 8:59 p.m., where that Ontario Police Department is stalking me by helicopter, and that's speaking to the criminal conduct that is underway right now and remains underway at all times when I am inside of this venue where surveillance is maintained, and so is Paul Leon. Paul Leon's engaged in gang stalking, while the Ontario City Hall is literally steps away from where the fake sign is remaining over this library all day long. Paul Leon is engaged in gang stalking where the City Hall is remaining steps away from the Ontario Town Square where the fake sign is remaining all day long. This is the removal of Paul Leon, who was a gang stalking psychopath, esteeming himself as a mayor. Okay, mayors that are not domestic enemies, and mayors are not engaged in what is sex trafficking of minor children or facilitating, enabling that sex trafficking to remain underway while this demon-possessed entity of the Jezebel spirit in particular rely on the pedophilia, the sexual violation of children, while they call themselves then a family community library. And they're also gang stalking with children while they're engaging in the sex offense of gang stalking. And this is exactly what's underway inside of the library. All of the demons are together. The entity, the City of Ontario, is engaging in surveillance on the Ontario Wi-Fi network. The Ontario Library Wi-Fi network is the ongoing criminal engagement in that pattern of conduct. Now the entity has removed the library Wi-Fi. It is still the same City of Ontario. The City of Ontario, the OVITT Family Community Library, is documented as of 2018 engaging in ongoing surveillance and engaging in criminal summoning on several occasions. And they're going to federal prison for that. And this is documentation speaking to psychopaths. These are sex offenders. While their communication devices are a means of what is impossible light activity occurring with simultaneous, and that's again impossible light activity. It's not sunlight that ricochets across the building. These demons are sitting in the library, and the same iteration of what is impossible light just manifesting out of nowhere while they're sitting around stalking and engineer light, and they're monitoring. And the entity is doing so sitting in the quiet area inside of the library on the top floor is where the demon-possessed are monitoring with children.
None of the children, no walking, nothing that they're doing upstairs is going to create, when you're looking at them wanting to appear as normal people, that is, nothing is going to create any loud amplified booming. Nothing is going to interfere with what is designated as a quiet area. These demons are monitoring, and it's highly unintelligent and unpersuasive. You're looking at what is mental illness. Mental illness with regard to the pattern of conduct itself, but also stalking and the manners in which the entity seeks to appear as a normal society that you're not aware of. In other words, that public corruption is afoot. And that's exactly what's going on. These are psychopaths who are fully engaging in a criminal pattern of conduct that the world is watching, a so-called family community library. And pay attention, because this is exactly how Satan wants to appear. Okay? Satan is referring to himself as a family community library, and the family of demons are engaging in gang stalking. The community of demons is engaging in gang stalking. The entity is engaging in the maintenance of the elements of monitoring, and it is exhibiting severe mental illness in doing so, and it's relevant to things such as kidnapping by the entity that is on video. It is sitting on the record, and the entity is keeping the fake sun from sunrise, as I documented, for example, July 15th, 2025, and as I'm documenting, for example, today is August 13th, so that was August 11th when I'm capturing the fake sign outside of the same entrance of the OVITT Family Community Library after 4 p.m. But I have the fake sign June 4th, as of 6 p.m. in the evening, where the same Ontario Police Department, by the way, is stalking as demons who are manifesting before your eyes, and a whole bunch of demons are sitting around stalking, because this is the obsession, this is the concern, this is the investment pertaining to a failed sacrifice by the demon-possessed, the living dead. And all they're doing is engaging in what is gang stalking as a government system. All right, it's currently 3:43 p.m. This is documentation of the City of Ontario engaging in ongoing harassment and terrorism. The perpetual sex offense remains underway, while demons are monitoring my vagina inside of a venue that is referred to as a family community library. These are psychopaths engaging in stalking as a community. It's at 215 C Street in Ontario, California, where I'm showing you the fake sun upon my entrance this morning. And that is steps away from the Ontario Town Square, where the fake sun is over me, as I'm documenting during the 7 a.m. hour, where Michael GERKEN's engaging in criminal summoning, where American Medical Response is engaging in criminal summoning, and the fake sun is at 7:39, steps away from the same OVITT Family Community Library, where it is remaining upon my entrance today, where I am capturing that at 10:59 a.m. All right, this is the pattern of conduct, and this is 2025. I've been documenting gang stalking by this facilitating venue for the City of Ontario since 2018. So the entity is engaged in the P.O.C. This is documentation of ongoing harassment, terrorism, psychological torture, while a bunch of intellectually inferior, meaning a lot of stupid people who are obsessed and who are stalking in what is no longer even a secretive manner, but they are obviously engaged in obsessive conduct, where the entity is fully engaging in it. That level of delusion, that's an unlawful threat, which you're also going to prosecute for. It's currently 3:44 p.m. The entity is engaged in this pattern of conduct with regard to the amplified audible activity that is maintained inside of the venue. So it is, again, 3:45 p.m. at the OVITT Family Community Library, and I'll show you the fake sun again today. But you already know the circumstances, and that is, by the way, also the ongoing evidence that's going to put a lot of the gang stalkers associated with the OVITT Family Community Library in federal prison. And by the way, that's where gang stalkers who are conspiring your murder, that's where they belong. This is P.O.C.
All right, it is currently 6:23 p.m. and this is documentation of the fake sun, and it's relevant where I'm at. It's always relevant where I'm at, but I'm making a specific point for the federal imprisonment of Tracy Banks and all the gang stalkers targeting me, defaming me, and also kidnapping me, as Tracy Banks committed on May 29, 2025, and also engaging in what is defamation through targeting me with the state via a secret conservatorship, criminal defamation by that entity, while they are engaging in committing perjury, while they are providing what is testimony that is manufactured testimony with regard to trying to manufacture mental illness while I'm being gang stalked, okay, by people who are actually mentally ill. As you are well aware, that the pattern of conduct is the outward demonstration of mental illness, while the behavioral pattern is including psychopathic and antisocial and delusional behaviors. The entity is engaged in this pattern of conduct, and I am at the plaza that I want to be clear, when I'm sleeping at the Tabor Professional Building right there, which is on the opposite side of Woodside Senior Apartments. The entity that's stalking, flying over 325 West G Street, incriminating all of their co-defendants. That's the city of Ontario that's stalking, as the fake sun proves. This is the same shopping plaza that I'm present, walking by, going to Starbucks. Remember June of 2024, in July, before that, Starbucks engaged in kidnapping at 507. This is the same block where the entity is keeping the fake sun from sunrise to sunset. I'm in this plaza in the morning. I'm at the Tapor Professional Building. I'm capturing the fake sunset after 7 p.m. I'm capturing the fake sunrise, where it's on the same senior apartments that it is right now, where I am standing on the opposite side of Woodside Senior, and the fake sun's in the same position. This is the means whereby you are able to prosecute an entity that is demon-possessed, that is maliciously targeting an American citizen in an entirely manufactured, engineered environment, and there's psychopaths that are engaging. This is the population that is demon possessed. And also, what you're going to be mindful of is the Ontario Police Department, who are gang stalking, as the Ontario International Airport proves. In this specific environment, there's no airport that includes any arrivals, landing, or takeoffs from the airport where Southwest Airlines is hovering, where the fake sun is present in defiance, in direct contravention, where it is incongruent with nature. Okay, the airport is engaged in stalking, as you already know. The entity is also engaged in deviating from remaining over the OVITT Family Community Library, and with regard to Woodside Senior Apartments, where they engaged in kidnapping. Remember, the Ontario Police is engaging in what is stalking by helicopter, and is doing so I believe it's May 18th, 2025, and I'm standing at Tracy Banks' front door. I'm looking at her patio glass window, which is facing this same direction, where the fake sun is not on what is the east side of her apartment building. It's on the west side of that same apartment building where it's present in the morning. In fact, the fake sun is on the side of the Woodside Senior Apartments that it is in the morning. In fact, where it's located, I wouldn't be able to see it at her apartment building, but that's not what I'm documenting. The Ontario International Airport, Southwest Airlines, a third party, is confirming for you the fact that that apartment complex is a facilitating venue where the elderly are both collecting government assistance in violation of that HUD-regulated property, while they're engaging in state surveillance with the government that maintain plane activity over that senior citizen complex. And so did the Ontario Police Department, the same city of Ontario, that's engaging in gang stalking, amplifying plane activity inside of Tracy Banks' apartment. That's impossible audible activity, including as you see it here. Doing so while you're keeping the fake sun over Tracy Banks' apartment. 8RKS 472 is a sex offender monitoring my vagina as an entity, and the Ontario Police Department is a part of that entity that engaged in kidnapping on May 29, 2025. All right, the entity is keeping this fake sun on the east side of Tracy Banks' apartment while I'm standing at the plaza, and I am on the east side of apartment number 51. But again, on May 18, 2025, the fake sun after 5 p.m. in defiance of nature, and this is also in defiance of nature, where the entity is keeping the fake sun on what is now the east side of Tracy Banks' front door, and that's because I'm on the east side of Tracy Banks' front door, where she is gang stalking her own daughter. She wants to be me. She worships Satan. She's practicing witchcraft with regard to malicious murder. She's already committed attempted murder as an entity that is gang stalking. They've all committed attempted murder together. They're all stalkers. They're all demons. And they're engaging in state surveillance with the government that confirmed it for you by stalking in the path using commercial flights. This is domestic terrorism and psychological torture. 8ZOE434 is a means of light activity in the path. And this is the presence of the fake sun while I am at what is facing 302 West G Street, Senior Apartments. The demons in units 38 through 64 are engaging in that pattern of conduct at Woodside Senior Apartments, where the fake sun was rising and setting, and it was rising on the same east side of Tracy Banks' apartment building that it is now. This is impossible, nor would the sun even be in Ontario in alignment to me or in the sky space creating my shadow when it's in Monrovia, California on this day in 2025. Okay, where the entity is maintaining that fake sun in Monrovia, where the Monrovia Police Department, the city of Monrovia, is targeting like the city of Ontario is as a population. Sex offenders who are psychopathic, and they're going to be diagnosed and criminally prosecuted. This is impunity while the ongoing elements, light activity, relevant positioning, while the entity is sounding plane activity. There's no arrivals or departures from the Ontario International Airport. And Southwest Airlines is engaging in flight. This is 6:28 p.m. and it's not published on the Ontario International website, okay? Nor is any of the gang stalking conduct by the city of Ontario. This is the removal of Paul Leon. It's the removal of the gang stalker, Mike Lorenz, who was stalking in the path, and it doesn't get in this. These are the demons that are, again, they've done so much witchcraft. They are delusional with regard to their sick minds. They provide evidence against themselves, and they're gang stalking me with their co-defendant, Tracy Banks, whom they committed kidnapping with. This is the federal imprisonment of C. Torres, L. Martinez, B. Hook, and Nathan Morgan. They're all going to federal prison for kidnapping me and then engaging in criminal defamation. And they engaged in kidnapping with Arrowhead Regional Medical Center. And those gang stalking medical professionals, then not only are they going to lose their medical licensure training, whatever it is that they've used, whatever formal training that they have, they were engaging in state surveillance with the intent to commit murder and kidnap me as an entity that is stalking by helicopter. Look at the video of Ontario Police gang stalking on May 18, 2025, because this is not the environment. It is not the same circumstance, but it is the same specific environment. And the Ontario Police, these are delusional psychopaths that provide evidence, and they exhibit mental illness. The more truth that I speak about the demon-possessed, the more that this is evident for all of the world to see. This is the obvious criminal engagement in the pattern of conduct, and the entity is, again, kidnapping at Starbucks. The kidnappers at Starbucks are going to federal prison. Kidnapping at OVITT Family Community Library. The kidnappers at OVITT Family Community Library are going to federal prison. Economy Inn. The kidnappers at Economy to federal prison. And so is every gang stalking police officer. That oxymoron is going to be dealt with regard to mental asylums. This is mental illness exhibited. This is demonic pacing, amplified audible activity by demons that are engaging in state surveillance, not law enforcement. And this is done with the intent to obstruct justice. This is severe mental instability that's exhibited, and they are monitoring my vagina on a 24-hour basis. Sex offenders are being removed permanently from law enforcement. This is Mike Lorenz's removal from office. This is P.O.C. Tracy Banks shares that same mental illness. It's just she doesn't dress up like it's Halloween, like she's acting like she's a legitimate law enforcement officer. She is going to federal prison for kidnapping me with her sex partner, Jason Isaac Fields, targeting me with the Ontario Police Department, targeting me with the gang stalking courts, criminally defaming my character together, and to engage in the pattern of conduct on video is ongoing further corroboration. The entity has no material whatsoever to establish actual mental illness, especially when you are maintaining a secret conservatorship, when you are maintaining secret hearings concerning undisclosed property that the entity never had a right nor jurisdiction over, because I am subject to state surveillance. This is currently 6:31 p.m. This is the venue of the shopping plaza that is on the east side of Tracy Banks' apartment, where she's gang stalking with the Ontario Police Department in that video as well. Reference May 18, 2025. It's 6:31 p.m. This is P.O.C.
5N46645, 8SZV650, 9TVN368, 3RTK753, 9GOC270, and license plate 9CGV483. EE83L42, that's a paper plate on a very old dusty Toyota Corolla, driven by a Latino male, license 7JAK735. And these are all demons lined up at Mission Furniture on Euclid Avenue in Mission under the 6:35 p.m. fake sun, the same street where I am capturing footage of the fake sun present before 7 a.m. This is the entity that is stalking with the Ontario Police in the video that you just listened to. This is the entity that is going to be prosecuted as a whole city-wide act. And gang stalking immigrants are going to be deported. The entity is sharing mental illness that the Ontario Police exhibit in that video, going berserk, pacing, and they're manifesting while you hear the entity sound like a siren from the helicopter, flying a circle, flashing of light, doing so under the fake sun. That's no coincidence while the fake sun is over me at the location that it is, while it's simultaneously in Monrovia, California on this day in 2024, while I am literally speaking about the Ontario Police Department stalking in helicopters, an entirely specific and unique criminal system that's never before been exposed. And while I'm speaking about something as unique as that, that's when the Ontario Police are engaging in that pattern of arriving as I'm discussing them. All right, under the circumstances of what is necessarily an unnatural environment. This is license plate 9GOC270. These are demons, and the impunity is shared. 16918Z1, 8RAV212, 6JPS029, 5JTR136, 7AOX438, 8NOW223, and this is G Street and Euclid Avenue. Recall what it is that I'm publishing on the venue of the internet regarding December 31st, 2021, actually. I'm at this same intersection, and I'm checking out of American Inn, and the entity is keeping the fake sun. I'm checking out at 11 o'clock in the morning, and the fake sun is over me at that Bank of America. They are keeping that fake sun at this same intersection while I'm inside of the same plaza. And into the morning and the afternoon. It's currently 6:35, like I stated, and this is again giving the end of daylight savings time, so this is give or take away 1 hour. You will never reconcile 6 hours of the fake sun still being at the same location. The entities engage in what is targeting, as the Ontario Police Department prove, and as the specific environment proves, and the behavioral pattern of the obviously demon-possessed people of the state who like to be captured on video stalking me with light. As I told them then that it is imprudent, the demon-possessed who are mentally ill continuously engage in it anyway, to their own demise. It is currently 6:37 p.m. This is P.O.C. right, license plate 8JJH289. They're co-defendants stalking with light activity in the path at Unicare Healthcare Community Center. License 9GXF300, and the fake sun is moving as I am moving. That is south on Euclid Avenue, and I will capture the fake sun that's no longer over Woodside Senior Apartments, a supernatural event captured on video in order to prosecute the malicious targeting system practiced by the government that's on video stalking in a helicopter. The most threatening means of psychological torture and harassment and terrorism by the City of Ontario, 9JIL326, and this is giving context regarding the demons that is stalking with light in the path, 7DXG120, a behavioral pattern, a behavioral issue with regard to targeting American citizens and psychologically torturing them. It is currently 6:39 p.m. This is P.O.C. 8 UCP 679. And the fake sun travels as I travel at the facilitating venue where Starbucks committed a kidnapping with the intent to obstruct justice. And that's where the fake sun is as I'm standing at 507 North Euclid Avenue at 6:40 p.m. Not only is L. Edwards going to federal prison for being under this fake sun at 7:15 in the morning, the fake sun is over me while demons are stalking with light. License 8MFB091, and again, sex offenders that obsess over my vagina, they drive away as they are aware that they're being documented, and they're also sex offenders and pedophiles. They also like to harm children and not be caught by engaging in that. That's what's gang stalking me and running away, because that demon knows that I'm going to document. But their co-defendant, obstructing justice with them, 8BQH400, 4MCH991. The entire street, if you want to get to a bigger picture, but that's still not because this is statewide, but the entire street of Euclid Avenue, which extends into different cities. Upland, California, gang stalker is on Euclid Avenue. The entity is maintaining the fake sun toward the 60 freeway, the same Euclid Avenue, and the entity is keeping the fake sun on Euclid Avenue from sunrise until sunset. Every business, every household full of demons who are sex-offenders, pedophiles, engaging in the state's targeting system that the Ontario Police, the City of Ontario is maintaining around me. License 9LWN959, 28PH97. A combat wounded veteran is a gang stalking demon, engaging in a pattern of conduct where sex trafficking of minor children is underway. There is no honor amongst any demon-possessed gang stalkers in the specific environment, and there is no exception either. License 8RXP496. They bring shame while they put these things on their vehicles, and you need to know about it. That's why I point it out. That's why I point those specific details out to you. 63007C4. Hi, I like you guys' barbershop. He's monitoring me, but it's a cute little barbershop. 8RGG680, 9BBL137, 8ZKP907, EF75W09 paper, 7HDD465, and it's 6:42 p.m. This is P.O.C. You'll see the image of the fake sun moving as I move, where the Ontario Police are stalking on video, where Southwest Airlines is stalking on video, and Southwest Airlines is stalking like every other airlines associated with the Ontario International Airport is stalking. On the same street where the United Airlines is openly engaging in gang stalking, and Southwest Airlines just having a field day on video at 7 in the morning, this is the same street. It's 6:42 p.m. and I'll go ahead and remind you of the foolishness of gang stalking the federal prosecutor. I'll let you know what that looks like. Direct evidence in order to civilly and criminally prosecute the defendant, the mentally ill that are woefully unprepared for a federal prosecution for terrorism in the state of California in the United States. This is the fake sign at 333 North Euclid Avenue, the same intersection where I'm present at 7:30, 7:45 in the morning, the same venue where Alex Escobar is gang stalking with the domestic terrorist U.S.C, stalking in the path with light activity, corrupt business practices, engaging in malice and psychological torture, while also making money. And they're doing so with knowledge that they're being documented, and UPS does not care. UPS is hostile to your constitutional rights, to your right to privacy, to your desire and your right to be free from psychological torture from a corrupt government and a corrupt business maliciously acting and enabling that government, and from violating you and monitoring your genitalia. 6SBL464 monitoring me by going to the ATM at that U.S. bank where Alex Escobar is going to federal prison. Currently, he's not going to federal prison there, but that's the crime scene where he's documented as a malicious actor targeting while wearing a police uniform. That's a federal no-no. Gang stalking police officers are going to federal prison. And he also engaged in kidnapping. He's going to federal prison. It's currently 6:48 p.m. This is P.O.C. All right, stalking by meeting me in the turn circle. All right, these are the demons that like to escort me around everywhere. And you're looking at that by the evidence of the fake sun. 7UNT761. And the fake sun is back at the OVITT Family Community Library entrance, and that's how you know that this demon is not focused on picking up an old biddy while she's stalking with light in the path. She's engaging in the malicious pattern of conduct, and she's doing so under a fake sun. You can pick up an animal off the sidewalk. You can pick up an old biddy from the facilitating venue of the 280 North Lemon Apartments who are gang stalking. You can pick up the fire hydrant out of the concrete, which would be amazing. You're still gang stalking. All right, this is P.O.C. It's currently 6:48 p.m. The fake sun in the same position after I travel away from the venue. And that's where the entity is stalking. Okay, that's P.O.C. And you're looking at mental illness, you're looking at obstruction of justice, you're looking at terrorism and psychological torture, while the Ontario Police gave a specialized message to the feds and the rest of the world that are under, at this point, not reasonably even doubting the evidence that I have regarding the P.O.C. That's the pattern of conduct. That's what's monitoring my vagina inside of the Ontario OVITT Family Community Library, P.O.C. Alrighty, that is 6:49 p.m. That's the Ontario Police Department following to the OVITT Family Community Library in the same way that you're listening to them gang stalk me at all hours of the night, 10, 11, 12, 1, 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. This is the Ontario Police Department that's being removed altogether from existence. This is the disbanding of the Ontario Police. Their mental illness is the core reason why, and their impunity, their lawlessness, P.O.C. License plate 8VYD695. License. These are all a whole bunch of demons at the traffic light, stalking with engineered light. These are the ones that are from half a mile away, molesting my body. They're sex offenders. 8EGU407, 9FMV0982. I can't see that one. License 7HEX708, and this is at Euclid Avenue and E Street, where you saw the entity gang stalking with the fake sun over me at the same intersection that I was at in the morning, that I've been at in the morning, because I was going to Starbucks every morning as of the kidnapping on June 3rd, that ended on June 3rd, 2025. And so going to Starbucks at 507 Euclid Avenue for over a month, and then the kidnapping occurs on July 4th, 2025. Well, that entire month I'm documenting the fake sun at this intersection in the morning, which is where it is at, in the afternoon after 5 p.m. That's where the entity is gang stalking right now. It is not traffic, it's surveillance. And they're doing so with the very highly intelligent, obviously being facetious, the Ontario Police Department and the Ontario International Airport. That's the government acting directly. This is the government acting vicariously. MULE, that's a license plate. I guess it's supposed to be mustache, 8CNY267. The Ontario Police Department that followed me from the plaza at G Street to the library at OVITT Family, 7EJG079. And they're following right now while the people of the state maintain surveillance, just like these demons are inside of the library, maintaining surveillance. All right, it is currently 9 p.m. This is P.O.C. Michael GERKEN, ongoing public corruption, criminal summoning at 9:02 p.m. combined with amplified train activity. That sounds as though it's coming from behind the Starbucks. Those are, again, demons that are manifesting, meaning you're looking at the evidence of their demon possession while they're driving a fire truck and while they're engaging in creating light activity in an entirely demonic environment. Those are the demon possessed that are they are posing an unlawful threat to the public, including these gang stalking demons. While Michael GERKEN and every other demon employed by the Ontario Fire Department, who you will see under the fake sun, by the way, a gang of those gang members under the fake sun at the library on my exit today, stalking in the path right now. 8MRD126. Combining the audible activity with the crossing of path and the use of an emergency vehicle, the use of, again, a vehicle representing the government that's engaging in criminal activity. This is happening with regard to Michael GERKEN's mental illness because of the fact that he is a demon and he's engaged in inherently corrupt conduct based on his mental illness, which is also demonstrating demon possession, which becomes legally relevant because the fire department in Ontario, California is engaging in the satanic pattern of conduct, which is intended to psychologically harm and maintain criminal surveillance. It's currently 9:08 p.m. License plate 14310A3. They're monitoring with the City of Ontario that's maintaining light activity of the Ontario Fire Department that's stalking in the path along Euclid Avenue. All right, the people of the state engage in the same conduct by stalking in the path along the street and keeping their brake lights on, or keeping their headlights on facing me, or keeping their hazard lights on. They're stalking in the path. What is very disturbing is to witness demon possession by the government that's using fire trucks, police vehicles, ambulances, that you are associating with heroic provision of services to the public. And it's actually criminal conduct. It's actually demonic activity. It's actually criminal conduct committed in furtherance of the conspiracy to murder a specific person that is being gang stalked by that government. It's the evidence of demon possession. That's what the Ontario Fire Department is doing, stalking in the path. That third-party license plate is stalking in the path while the entity controls the traffic lights. That third party whose license plate I just read is stalking in the path adjacent to me at the red light. And this is, again, with regard to your ignorance about the specific environment, your ignorance about the ways in which you're being monitored. You are under attack and you have no idea that it's happening. And that's not because it's harmless conduct. That's not because it's constitutionally protected. That's not because it is not threatening. It's not because it's lawful either. And it's also not because there's any exception. It's because of the entity's pattern of conduct, which only requires presence. The entity is engaging in demonic synchronicity with regard to the maintenance of elements that one or all of or multiple actors within the entity at the same time are maintaining together. And so you are able to sit at the traffic light and you're engaged in criminal monitoring with the fire department. And they don't have a conversation about these are demons. These are demons, and the conspiracy to gang stalk an American citizen is implied through their pattern of conduct in that specific environment. That ongoing impossibility that you have a coincidental series of behavioral patterns over and over and over again. That's why you're going to prosecute the demon-possessed who are severely mentally ill and delusional with regard to their criminal activity. And they don't have to say a word. You're never going to get the truth from a demon anyway. The entity is engaging in the P.O.C. and it's not going to require the admission of the terrorists that are engaging in this unspoken system. And you don't need to. The evidence literally speaks for itself. It is currently 9:07 p.m. This is P.O.C. Nine NAV 576, 9 BBL 137, 8 ZKP 907. License 8ZKN128, 9LMV922, 9DRB640, molesting with impossible light activity as the third party is being documented. That's a sex offense committed with the intent to obstruct justice. It's 9:12 p.m. 8TBF539, 8PBF150, 6POV347, 7GVD768, 7YSX150, 6JYW172, 43443L3, 8PDV821, 8PUV821, 8YZY700. I thought that was a dog. And it is currently 9:13 p.m. Again, the entity that is, again, demon-possessed. This is supernatural light that's not coming from their headlights while they're driving north on Euclid Avenue, while they're turning from, the documentation with regard to the downtown Ontario luxurious apartments. Those gang stalkers whose license plate I read throughout their parking garage, they are sex offenders monitoring with these demons at that intersection. Their headlights are not going to shoot across the street to 415 North Euclid Avenue, where the demon-possessed are engaging in targeting, speaking to knowledge about not only who I am, where I'm located, and what I'm doing, okay? While I'm documenting the people of the state, the demon-possessed are stalking in the path. I want to document the San Bernardino County Housing Authority off of Lemon Avenue. They are engaged in the pattern of conduct. That's a government venue. That's a state facilitating venue, and the government is gang stalking, including after hours, while the people of the state are behind that building being psychopaths, stalking, aiming light, okay? Those are the demons that are using that venue to do so. They're doing so in concert with the state that's stalking by aircraft. They're doing so while they're pacing around like cockroaches in the parking lot across the street. These demons are all together stalking me. These are the demons that are pedophiles. These are the demons that are obsessed together over my vagina. These are the demons that spend millions of dollars to stalk me. They use planes and helicopters, and they set aside money of the government to keep me under surveillance. They engage in 24-hour surveillance as a community that maintains presence on the roads and the highways. They come from their homes in the middle of the night to make sure that somebody goes and sits at the gas station. They sit on the side of the road with regard to aiming light in my direction. They're psychopaths. Okay, this is psychopathic conduct, and it's committed in furtherance of the conspiracy to murder. Okay, these are the mentally ill. This is the special needs population that are engaging in criminal activity that is relevant to what is state action and the prosecution of the government, and the prosecution includes the people of the state. Okay, it is currently 9:15 p.m. This is P.O.C. Chevron at 506 North Euclid Avenue in Ontario, California. Zip code 91762, ARCO at 434 North Euclid Avenue, and Ontario, California, zip code 91762. The entity is maintaining surveillance with these facilitating venues, and those companies are engaging in gang stalking. License 19500C4. This is FedEx that is gang stalking, and that's both the business FedEx that's going to be prosecuted, while that logo is on a vehicle that's a means of the activity creation, while also a third party is operating that commercial vehicle. I just want to document that as well as what I captured earlier today. It's currently 9:16 p.m. This is P.O.C. Glorious Cochinas engaged in criminal summoning in concert with the City of Ontario. So is the Ontario Downtown Luxurious Apartments at 320 North Euclid Avenue. So is Chevron at 506 North Euclid Avenue. The ARCO at 434 North Euclid Avenue. The Starbucks at 507 North Euclid Avenue. And those are the venues that have people inside, the people of the state that are monitoring. The entity is sounding sirens on the same street where the fake sun is present from sunrise until sunset. This is speaking to the demons that are being removed from office for their facilitation of pedophilia amongst the gang stalking entity. That is Michael GERKEN, Mike LORENZ, Alan D. WAPNER, Paul Leon, and the entire Ontario City Council. This is light activity and relevant positioning. It's federal stalking in violation of Title 18. It is a sex offender American medical response. Gang stalking at Euclid and what is E Street with the Ontario Police Department, stopping the sirens the moment that they're turning. I'm capturing images of it in real time, and the third parties whose license plate are already documented are sharing in that. This is relevant to federal stalking committed with the intent to obstruct justice. They're all being prosecuted. This is why things such as deportation of gang stalking immigrants is directly relevant. This is why things such as federal prison for gang stalking police officers is relevant. This is why removal from office from gang stalking public officials like Paul Leon is directly relevant. This is why the federal RICO case for the prosecution of corrupt establishments like the Ontario Downtown Luxurious Apartments, that's a corrupt apartment complex. They're profiting while the residents are gang stalking. The government is gang stalking with those residents on the venue of the property, around the venue of the property, and the demons of the City of Ontario are stalking in the path including at Glorious Cochinas, the Ontario Downtown Luxurious Apartments, the ARCO, the Chevron, the Starbucks, where they're occupying placement inside of these venues while they're sharing in the criminal elements of monitoring. That's rampant, vast demon possession. These are demons altogether that are monitoring with that substantial activity creation by American Medical Response, okay? American Medical Response, by the way, is headquartered. Let me go ahead and document that because I already captured it and let me include it on the podcast. American Medical Response is going to be federally prosecuted. They're engaged in the pattern of conduct in more than on the City of Ontario and more than San Bernardino County. American Medical Response is headquartered in Louisville, Texas. specifically 4400 Highway 121, Suite 700, Louisville, Texas 75056. That is the American Medical Response Corporate Headquarters, and this is relevant to the civil and the criminal prosecution. The domestic terrorist that American Medical Response is, the ongoing public safety concern concerning sex offenders and mentally ill psychopaths like the demon-possessed EMTs who are gang stalking and engaging in surveillance and engaging in what are manifesting as demons, while the elements of monitoring underway while they are operating AMR ambulances. It's a very malicious and psychopathic pattern of conduct, and they're doing it in concert with the psychopaths who are the Ontario Police Department, which is also relevant to the malice. It's also relevant to the public corruption that AMR is engaging in. AMR is profiting from it, and so you're going to disincentivize that by prosecuting civilly and criminally. And also, you're talking about removal from the medical field. Engaging in what is psychological torture is the basis to be removed from the medical field. These are people that derive a pleasure from suffering that is literally antithetical, okay, that is diametrically opposed to the purpose of doing no harm in the medical field. The entity is going to be prosecuted for all the ways in which they're engaging in targeting. It's currently 9:21 p.m. This is P.O.C.